That's crazy. So, all right. What's up, everybody? This is the Diesel Daddy Podcast, and we are live with our brand new friend, Mr. What's your last name?
It's the same as mine.
Yeah.
I don't know your last name.
Oh, it's Briggs.
Briggs,
Yeah.
Mr. Neil Briggs, who is an Army veteran, and I'm excited to. Oh, I'll bleep it out if you want me to. He's very secretive. He's undercover. He's an undercover gay.
No. It's the paranoia.
Don't ask, don't tell. Is that still a thing?
No, that went away a long time ago.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, that was under Obama.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a lot of training that we had.
I remember that.
Wait, what is that?
Don't ask, don't tell. So basically, that was implemented. Oh man, I can't even remember who did that, but it was basically you could be gay in the military, just don't tell anybody.
I think it was Nixon.
Because back then, by the Uniform Code of Military Justice, it was actually a chargeable offense.
To be gay in the military was?
Yeah.
How have I not known this?
Oh.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never knew that at all.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You're one of the biggest readers I know.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how that's something that fell through. Like that,
Yeah,
like,
but I really don't stay up to date on news.
I'm barely literate, and I knew that.
He doesn't read gay
No, I
stuff.
do. Well, I mean, I guess I don't. I don't know.
He prefers to make it instead of read it.
So is it still an offense to be gay now in the military?
No. That way, Obama got rid of that back in, I think 2016.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah.
Fuck. It's a great thing.
Yeah.
Not a great thing, but I never knew that. I never knew that was a thing. No.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can go back and watch those old military moves from the 90s, early 2000s. You'd hear them talk about it all the time because it was a big controversy back then under Bush.
Was it a dishonorable discharge?
Oh yeah.
Hey, when
Oh yeah. You're like, oh, you're gay. Get
talk
out.
to the microphone if you talk.
I was chewing. Sorry. Was it a dishonorable discharge?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was straight up. You're gay. Get out. Like, we don't need you. We don't want you. Like, you can't serve.
Right.
You're incapable of serving.
Yeah.
But I mean, in all fairness, for my
Gen Z kids do not know
Yeah.
about the struggles. Seriously, they've got it good.
hey, my first 4 years in the first 4 years in the Army, I did not serve with a female at all. Never seen them. I went to an all-male basic training, all-male AIT, and my first unit was a combat unit, so we didn't have females.
Do they serve side by side?
Yeah, they do now. Obama changed that back in 2014, I think, maybe. I can't remember, but yeah, I remember. Yeah, and then because we had elevated PT standards, and so we had to. So like the minimum standards like 60% across the board, and that's passing, and then
60%.
yeah, in each of the three categories. So you had a 2 mile run, you had 2 minutes push up, 2 minutes sit up, and it was varied by gender and age groups. But yeah, so we had elevated PT standards, so everybody that was NCOs and below, they all had to be performing at 70%, like across the board in each of the three categories, and NCOs were 80s, officers were 90%. Well, when females started coming in, they were not getting into that 70 percentile. Well, you can't pass by our standard for PT, so you can't come into the battalion. Well, then they would start filing complaints against them for sexism and stuff like that, and so then it just demolished the whole standard of the battalion at the time.
So did the percentages go up or down when the gays started coming in openly?
Yeah. No,
I stumped him.
no, because I mean, like the gays at the time, at least when I was serving, nobody cared. It was at that time, it was like the trans and the other.
Did you have trans people in the military with you?
I had one in my last battalion that I was in, and
guy going.
Yeah, it was male going to female.
Male going to female.
Yeah.
So what side did he enlist on? Did he enlist as a female?
No. So, oh man, you're gonna have to make me remember this process. So it was a weird process because you have to go through a system called DEERS, which manages all the personal information for the service member. But basically, you have to go in there, start this whole process, and you have to go and see a psychologist. You have to go see doctors, and then you have to start this whole process for getting your gender changed over in DEERS. I mean, so it takes like a year or two, depending on what the doctor says and the psychologist.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a process.
So guy to girls, what was happening?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, male to female, and so anywhere we went, they had to have a room for themselves. They had to have a restroom for them to use by themselves because, you know, in the military, everything's always a community shower or bathroom, but they had to have one just for themselves.
How is, like, that even a benefit to the military to even have someone like that can such drastically change a living scenario and make that sustainable for somebody trying to fight for our country?
You know, the hard thing is like, what you believe, what you are, I don't care, but...
Well,
like,
I mean,
you have
just
to,
like the actual logistics of that.
Well, you mean you have to maintain yourself in order to perform at these standards. To,
Yeah.
You know, do your job. Like, you can't just be like, I'm just some fat slob and I'm just gonna go out there and kill people. Like, no, it's not how it's gonna work, man. Like, you're worthless. Nobody's gonna like you. Everybody's gonna try to get rid of you. Be like, you will not survive, some way, shape, or form.
But that also has to bring down the people around them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it kills the morale because it kills the standard of the unit. And so people who were succeeding, because everything in the military is performance based, and so, you know, if they start changing the standards, well, now you're not succeeding at a higher standard, so now it's going to be harder for you to go to that. It's
got to bring down the whole group.
Yeah, so
them elevating, everybody else had to come down.
Yeah, so everybody starts coming down, which, you know, that can throw off your career on your timeline because, you know, now it's going to take you longer to get into that school to go to the next rank or, you know, go to that school for, you know, jungle warfare or mountain warfare or whatever it is that you're wanting to go to advance your career and gain those extra skills and, you know, be an asset, a further asset, and it just throws things off.
Did this person get deployed?
No. So when you're going through that transition, you're in a non-deployable status, so the military can't use you for anything.
Well, and I could be. I'm sure you have a better, you know, perspective on this. But you know, people got on Trump really hard of like, oh, he's saying you can't be. There's no trans in the military. No, what he said was you can't be in transition.
Yeah.
Like once you're transitioned, you can do whatever.
Yeah.
But that transition is such a toll on your body already that you're a liability to be in the field or be
in prime condition,
yeah.
Right?
If you're going through
so like the big thing that I noticed with that soldier that was transitioning, like they couldn't perform physically, even just trying to do push-ups. You just couldn't do it. I'm like, you can't do push-ups, man. How are you going to run around with 60 pounds of gear?
So it was a man going to a woman.
Yes.
So how could he not do push-ups?
That's because of he was taking testosterone blockers, so, you know, you can bring the estrogen levels up so you can start the transition in the body. And without testosterone, you don't build muscle.
Yeah. So why would anybody think it's a good idea to let these that scenario in? And I'm not trans bashing by any means at all, but being in a situation where these people who we all greatly respect, we have an American flag here, these people who have fought and defend our country with their lives, sacrificing everything, and everybody has to pretend like this bullshit isn't bringing you down. That person is intentionally weakening themselves so they can do something who they feel like, you know, they're a woman and they want to go fight for this country. I guess I don't understand that, how that could even be tolerated at all when you're risking I feel like, you know, like if I'm on the battlefield and this person intentionally weakened themselves so they can feel sexually who they are,
right?
Like standing in a combat situation next to that, maybe they earn their place, but I feel, you know, wouldn't you want to? It'd make more sense for a woman to start taking testosterone so they could be stronger around men as opposed to a man weakening themselves and then force everyone around them to accept them and then that other ones around them take care of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know, I think another thing a lot of people tend to forget is these people who are going through these transitions, they're most likely not on the front line. So like they're just support assets. So it's probably just, you know, Joe Schmo, Private Smithy and supply, or you know Jennifer who's a medic, you know, whatever. But you know, but there is a standard,
not
and you
all
need to
be in combat.
Yeah,
right.
But you know, there is a standard, and you need to be held to that standard, so you know that, you know, the person to your left and to your right knows that you can do your job.
Well, but isn't that one of the things of like, yes, you might not ever see a day of, you know, frontline action, but the whole idea is that at any point you could be called up to do.
Yeah, so I mean, especially, when I joined, everything was, you know, anti-insurgency operation or anti-terrorism operation. So, you know, it's all based around working out of a fob, doing these long, big convoys, humanitarian aid, you know, just general Joe Schmo, like hearts and minds stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, right before I started getting out, we started transitioning to peer-to-peer conflict, which is, you know, like us going against China or Russia or something like that. And so, you know, operation-wise, everything changes because at that point you have to go and learn how to work and survive.
You're working on specific.
Well, you're working by yourself. You're not going to go to some big old fob that's got this unit for security or these contractors to do all your maintenance or, you know, whatever. Like, you have to survive by yourself because you're going to be working in something called an AA, which is just an assembly area. So you're just going to be in this little gaggle, and you're going to have to provide your own security, your own meals. You're going to have to still do your missions. Like, you have to be self-sustaining. And I think that's where the differentiation comes in. But, like, I mean, as far as, like, people want to transition, you want to transition, that's fine. I don't care. Get out of the military. Do your transition.
Yeah, I guess
come reprocess right back in, and that way, you know, you don't have to worry about doing anything. Like, it's all going to be changed when you go through MEPS again. You'll be able to change your gender status in there, and you can just continue on. You'll go right back into the military with the same rank, the same MOS if that's what you want, and then you're just your gender is different. You're not in a non-deployable status, so that way you're going to be an asset to your unit.
Yeah, I mean, even as a transition person, isn't there a lot of hormone maintenance that has to, you know, do that? And even if that person gets deployed, no matter what they're doing, they have to have a full setup just for them to maintain their identified sexuality.
Yeah.
You know, and so, Allison, you're about to say something on that.
Well, I was just going to say that I wouldn't necessarily say that's exactly true.
Which
I
part?
personally know plenty of trans people who do not take specific hormones all the time.
Is that because they don't want to or they don't need to?
Could be incompatible with their bodies. Like, I know some people who've had adverse effects to, like, testosterone blockers, for instance. So, like, that doesn't negate their transness just because they're not on hormones at the moment. I just want to, like, maybe.
But would that,
Well,
so especially in, like, a situation like that being, like, deployed, do you think that would ever, like, compromise their ability? Like, right, as a day-to-day life civilian, you might not need this stuff, but
I can't comment on that on the
perform at your
military
highest levels.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to.
Because that's not my.
Yeah.
I've never been in the military. I've just been the spouse
So
of somebody in the military.
There is I can't remember if it's a documentary or something like that, but there is this story about I think it was three people in the Air Force. They were transitioning, and they were deployed. Yeah,
sorry. Another guy that was supposed to be on here was in the Air Force, and just to have three trans.
Yeah. But the story was about this specifically these three people who were transitioning, and they were talking about the other males because they were female to male, and the other males in the unit were complaining about how they consecutively keep getting passed over promotions for schools and stuff like that because the women were outperforming them on PT. Well, the three individuals were outperforming them on PT, but they're also injecting testosterone every day. So it's like it's super easy to build muscle mass. I mean, let's be honest. I was doing testosterone when I was deployed. A lot of people did it. Yeah. A lot of people did. You got that crap for pennies on a dollar over there.
And you're out there fighting, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in reality, like when you're deployed, like you're in prison, but you have a gun. Like, let's be honest. That's what it is. Like, you're just sitting around on the fob, waiting until you're told that you can leave to go on a mission if you ever do leave the fob. And so it's just prison. Like, you go to
what's a fob? I'm not familiar with that.
So it's a forward operating base. So it's just a container. It's just this set of structures that we build on ground, and then all you'll have a number of units that'll move in there, and they'll all support each other in running operations in the area.
It's not going to be like a set like, oh, we're at an air base or something like that. It's
like,
no,
it can be sometimes, but
but you mostly like you build like these little towns. With,
you're essentially building like a town with a bunch of ESCO barriers, which are like just filled full of sand.
So do you like to camp?
I love camping. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Me?
What?
I love my bed, bro.
Nah.
What did
nature's
my house is in the woods.
The other day about you just rather just live outside. What were we talking about?
Probably me being an anarchist. I don't know. Who knows?
No, it was you were like, I'd just rather live outside with MREs or something instead of being here dealing with
it definitely
this.
wouldn't be MREs. I would die.
What I meant. We were talking about.
I don't know. I want
a commune or something.
I'm down with a commune and a barter trade, like a barter system.
Oh yeah, I love.
Yeah,
I love that, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Go off.
Let's go back to trading chickens and cows again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you think that cow is worth me pulling that engine in your truck, go for it, brother. You know, like, I'm not going to
I was
complain.
telling Nick the other day, this client was like wanting to pay me in meat, and
Hey.
I was like a quarter of a cow or a half a cow or something like that. And I was telling Nick, I was like, I'm not going to start that. I'm not going to start like getting meat for hair color. And he's like, get the meat.
Yeah. For
You're
real, though.
coloring that bitch's hair all year.
Dude,
Yeah.
you would be insane not to.
I know.
Yeah. Like, quarter cow's like $700
They-
plus
yeah.
processing fee.
It's like
Yeah.
7 colors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only thing
Like,
you
it's
got to
a
get
good
is
deal.
a good chest freezer.
Yeah.
You're-
Yeah, we got one. We're good.
So we went straight into trans, right? Tell me your military career exactly, like what you did, how you started.
Well, I started by getting lied to like everybody else.
what was the lie?
Well, so when he was telling me about this job, it was a 12 Bravo, which is a combat engineer. And in all fairness, he didn't lie outright. He just more or less didn't tell you what you would be doing as a combat engineer in this war. And so, because a lot of our stuff is like, we help build structures. We do mobility augmentation, which is like blocking supply, like main supply routes that the enemy is using, stuff like that. And then there's this other little thing we do called route clearance. But he failed to mention that.
Tell him
And-
how old you were.
Huh?
How old were you?
I was 17 when I went to the recruiter because my home life sucked like everybody else. So he left that.
Drawn to the military.
Oh yeah,
A lot of bad family life.
Oh yeah. Well, that and I'm the youngest of 3, and my mom was like, "If you're gonna go to college, which we really doubt because I dropped out of high school."
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna take my happy ass up to Muskogee and stop right in at the recruiter's office."
She really thought he was reaching for the stars.
Yeah. Well.
I did it.
Joke's on you. I went to a lot of cool places that you never did. And I got paid to do it.
They didn't get you on the in the Army now, Pauly Shore. Like, dude, it's just 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's never that. I can promise you that. But so I signed up as a 12 Bravo, got a $20,000 sign-on bonus for that. And then I I shipped out 3 days later, went to Fort Knox, Kentucky with the 194th Armored Division before they relocated to Benning. Did my base training there, went to Fort Leonard Wood, Louisiana, Jesus, my states are messed up today. Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Did my AIT there, and then I got stationed up at Fort Drum with the 10th Mountain. And then from there, I went to Iraq, came back, went to Germany, went to Afghanistan, came back to Germany, and then I went down to Fort Polk, Louisiana. Then I proceeded to get off of active duty, went down to the reserves as a 91 Bravo, which is an all-wheel mechanic. And then I was with a water purification unit. That was absolutely the worst unit I have ever served with, and I hate that unit. Yes.
That's in the Army now. Pauly
Yeah.
Shore.
Yeah.
Water
purification. Yeah, the water dogs. Yeah, screw those guys. Really cool equipment, but that unit sucked. So if you're in the 303rd, I feel sorry for you. Yeah. Also, Sergeant First Class McDonald, you suck.
Oh my God.
Hey, that guy sucks at his job. And Mr.
Yeah.
Young.
We'll
I
tag
know.
you.
I
in.
know. I remember.
Oh, I know you remember.
So, what year did you go in?
2009.
2009. So,
Yeah.
did your view on the country, because I guess Obama was president then,
Yeah.
and your political view then, and what you experienced in the military, seeing things that I've never seen, from high did anything change in your perspective from what you actually experienced serving?
I mean, at that time, there wasn't a whole lot of love for the war. I remember growing up and they would put the casualty list on the TV screen every night.
Mm-hmm. I remember that too,
Yeah, right. So at that point, like, they weren't doing it anymore, and a lot of people were just not talking about it. And the news that you did get about the war was usually how we messed up, or it was some half-assed truth where it just painted us in a bad light. Something. It was always something bad. So I wasn't really.
How accurate was that reporting then?
Oh, it was not very accurate. But I
So,
mean,
I guess
but
because
there was,
I didn't really hear about like fake news and stuff, or even really care about it until Trump obviously got everybody interested in politics all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, because like,
But
you know,
I didn't mean to interrupt real quick.
No, you're good.
But everybody thinks like there's this greater time where everybody was just telling the truth.
yeah,
Was it
no.
any more accurate than
No.
what
Everybody forgets that Colin Powell went to the UN and lied.
Oh yeah, he did say there were nuclear weapons in Iraq.
Yeah. So
Yeah, to my knowledge, there was not. So
Existed.
yeah,
exactly,
I
because it's always accurate.
Yeah.
Right?
so all those anthrax vaccinations for nothing. So thank you. But
Anthrax?
Yeah.
Did you have to take anthrax vaccinations?
yeah,
Really?
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
cool. I'm learning so much today. I didn't even know that was.
I
a
mean,
thing.
at that point,
Yeah.
there was a big emphasis on potential chemical warfare.
Yeah,
and-
well,
Well,
because
that and anthrax is naturally occurring over there more than it is over here.
yes, but also at the same time there was that that ricin that got delivered to the state or the national.
It was the Pentagon.
Was it the Pentagon?
Yeah, it was the Pentagon.
No, there was like 3 of them that happened like in
There
a
were-
month time span.
There was
But
like
anyway.
Pentagon. There was one of the like a
Yeah.
U.S. embassy somewhere.
Yes.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
something like
So
that.
yeah, there was that whole big crisis going around. Yeah.
Seriously, at this point.
Yeah, so there was that crisis going around and everything, and then there was the people were really falling away from the war and the war efforts and all that. So it was different. I mean, especially going over to another country. I mean, everything's different. I mean, when we invaded Iraq in 2003, we didn't even have up-to-date maps. Like people were just using topographical maps from pilots because that's all we had from when we'd been there from the Gulf War. So
So Google Maps just isn't a thing over there.
no, yeah, not then.
Well,
Not then, man. Like,
did they use like iPhone or Android over there?
yeah, no. It's always Android.
So
no.
Being in the military back then and the war that was going on, do you feel like what you were fighting against really was the enemy, or that was it just what you were told to believe what the enemy was?
I mean, at that time, that's like I remember watching the trade towers fall. I remember, just like everybody did at that time. So everybody was still pumped up, fired up, ready to go. You want to go over to the sandbox, do your job, but it really didn't change for me until I got to Afghanistan. Afghanistan's where I saw a lot more stuff. But, I did 2 deployments to Afghanistan, and I did one as a combat engineer and another one I did as a civil affairs specialist. And civil affairs specialist, we did more civil military operations, so a lot more like humanitarian aid. I did a lot of project management, getting them roads and stuff like that.
What explain to me what humanitarian aid overseas would look like. What were you doing specifically?
A lot of like food kits, water,
To,
basic
like, local
medical
people
supplies.
there?
Yeah. So like basically, I would go into a village and then I would try to meet with like the tribal or the village elder, whoever it was, their figurehead, and just be like, hey man, like, what can I do or the United States government do to get you to stop shooting at us? And they'd be like, well, we're tired of walking 7 miles one way for a well. And I'm like, all right, how about we build you a well and you stop shooting at us? And they're like, well, I guess. And so,
Well,
yeah. And so I would go and I would
Are-
start
are-
coordinating everything.
Are
and-
they all from Louisiana over there?
Yes.
they sound just
Yes.
like.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Well, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
So you said nothing really changed for you until you went to Afghanistan. What?
Yeah.
Like, was that just your perspective or beliefs about the war, or what was changing for you as you were experiencing that?
It was mostly what I was experiencing that changed a lot of it. We took a lot more casualties in Afghanistan. They were a lot more cruel. Comparatively to Iraq, and I saw a lot of jacked up stuff in Iraq, but Afghanistan was just worse. I remember one time we were walking through this village, and part of our ROE, which is our rules of engagement, is we weren't allowed to interfere with local customs or traditions. And there was this girl; she was just getting raped in the middle of the street. And, and they were like, "Nope, can't do nothing." And so we were just like, "Well, we're just gonna toss some smoke grenades and see if we can get them done." But no, they raped her, then stoned her to death, and we were just like, "Cool,
Golly,
just go on
man.
without her day."
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So yeah. Oh yeah. And they used to take guys, and there was this one guy I remember. So we had these little cameras that would sit up above the fob in a balloon, while a Mine Sky, or I can't remember. I think it was Iron Sky, but it had this badass camera on it, 360, and infrared and all that cool stuff on it. And we saw this truck driving down this road just hauling ass. And so we started zooming in on it. And they had taken this guy and chained him to the back of that truck and were just dragging him behind it until he died.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Golly.
Turns out it's because he stole some food.
Shit.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So.
A real Old Testament.
Yeah. Right. So it's a completely different world. The culture is completely different, And I think it's my job as civil affairs. I had to push past my own beliefs and morals because you go to sit in there and like one time I had gotten tea. At this sit down and I had asked for mint in it, and the guy's wife forgot to put mint in it, and he just started beating the piss out of her in front of me. And at the end of the day, it's your house, it's your rules, and all I can do is be like, hey, can you please not do that in front of me? Like, I don't like that. But if he decides to keep doing it, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, do I ruin relations in this region that we've been working on for the past 15 years? And do I shoot this guy, or do I just sit here and do my job?
Right.
What a terrible paradox.
The same rules that apply to us here don't necessarily apply anywhere or everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It's
So like,
and that's where like a lot of people have this very narrow mindset of like everything in the U.S. is exactly how it is. Like no, it is like people other places have real problems.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
But we make up problems here
Yeah,
to feel better about it. It's like stuff like that.
Trying to institute, stations of democracy in places that have never, ever, ever had a political structure that looked anything like democracy.
Oh yeah, I was over there when they were doing that.
Yeah.
That election.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that was really interesting.
Was when we were talking about like the rift in our relationship in the last one. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's part of why I said some of the things I said to him was because I knew what the government was trying to do over there to institute the democratic process like we have here in the U.S. And I'm like, but is not going to work. It's not going to work, period.
So has your political beliefs changed from your experience the past 12 years?
Oh fuck yeah.
So, explain to me that.
Oh yeah.
I guess where you started, what changed.
Well, I started like any good little boy from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Nice, red and conservative. I feel like for the most part I'm more of a libertarian nowadays. But I think that's just a lot of
Which, if I'm not mistaken, it's like every man has the right to govern themselves.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of. Am I right on that?
Yeah,
somewhat?
yeah. So like, my property is my property. I can do what I want as long as you stay off my property. I don't care.
If I'm not doing nothing wrong and I'm not bothering you, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't care that there's a dead hobo in the ditch out there. That's not my property. Like, you want him gone? Get rid of his body. He's not bothering me. So that's just where I'm at. I just want to be left alone. But I think a lot of that just comes from the distrust that you get with the government and how you're treated, especially how you're treated when you come back.
You can either trust the government or understand history. Not both.
Yeah. Well, because,
I'll write that down. That was a good one.
Well, because,
I didn't come up with that. I've seen that several times.
Well, because when I first got in, there for a long time, even after I first got in, if you had any signs of PTSD in the military, you were pretty much just going to get discharged. Like, they wanted nothing to do with you, and they didn't try to help you. That it was not something that they would really acknowledge that existed. And so, like, we would have to take these mental evals every year. And
Hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
Did you hear that?
No.
Oh.
No, we have headphones on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There was something banging out there.
I bet it was some sweet tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Josh showed up. So, anyways, keep going.
What was I saying? I forgot. Been blown up too many times.
Well, you're talking about how you've been treated by the government.
Oh yeah,
And
they wanted nothing to do with the PTSD.
Yeah.
So So back when I first got in, PTSD wasn't really something that the military would really acknowledge that was something that was real.
That was the first don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, you're fucked up. Fucking keep it to yourself.
You go back and you listen.
We all saw
You
Rambo.
shut up and keep that shit to yourself.
Yeah, but you go back and you listen about every other war that's been going on in past recorded history. There's always something shell shock or 1,000-yard stare or whatever, And so it's been around for forever. We just called it something different every time. But they just never wanted to acknowledge that it was something that was real and that affected people and caused a lot of issues.
That would mean taking responsibility for what we did.
Right.
What? Who does that?
Responsibility for
Not us.
what we did as what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, sending these young men over there, and then when they come back, they're completely not the same, and then we do nothing for them. Absolutely nothing.
Do you believe that we were right in even going there in the first place?
Ooh, that's $1 million question, isn't it? It's actually like $1 trillion question just out of Afghanistan. But
Well, I'll give you $20 to answer it.
ooh,
I think that's actually
$20?
like multi-trillion-dollar in Afghanistan.
Oh yeah, no. So by like just in Afghanistan by 2013, we had spent over $1 trillion just in Afghanistan.
By 2013?
Yeah, by 2013. So from from 2001 to 2013, it was like $1 trillion just in Afghanistan.
Wow.
But hey, I also remember being in Iraq handing out laptops to these kids for this 4-H program, and they have a nicer laptop than I have, man. Like, it's bullshit. Like, we would give them iPads and stuff.
I'm sure they kept them for 35 minutes before they were confiscated by somebody.
No, it was so funny. So like we would hand these out to these kids.
Who was paying for? Well, I don't know who was paying for it, but
we
how did
know.
they get service?
There's cell towers over there. They're not,
Was it Verizon?
No, I don't remember who it was, but they had cell towers. Like we would build them extra cell towers, and we would build them power. No, not yet.
That one around
It's on
yet?
its way. Yeah, thank you for paying for that, by the way.
You're welcome.
Somebody's got to pay taxes.
First time I saw the Starlink satellites, I almost shit myself.
I literally thought it was the end of the world.
I was actually up at Roger's house, and we were having a fire in the backyard, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, shooting star!" I was like, it was like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I didn't know that's how they went across the sky.
Yeah.
And that's when Tom prayed for the first time.
Yeah.
He's like, I know the loophole. I can forgive
That's when he found Jesus.
Yeah.
I had no idea that's like how they go through the sky is in a direct line.
Yeah, they're all in geosynchronous orbit, so they
Right.
all just cover a certain grid on the planet, and they all just stay right above it the entire
Oh,
time.
don't get him talking about maps.
Yeah. Yeah.
But literally, like, because they came like through like some like overcast, and it literally came one like boom.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. It was like boom, 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 boom. It was like 30 of them.
Yeah.
I was like,
So it's actually really funny. So, so if you're ever actually out at night and you're looking up at the stars, and there's one that's like stupid bright, and you don't know, like you look on the star charts and you're like, I don't know what hell the star that is. It's actually a communication satellite. It's called Blue Walker 1, I think. Yeah, but it sit there and just shines bright as hell, and it just kills everything. I don't know why. That thing pisses me off. I don't know why. Just because it exists, and I know it's up there, and it's not a star.
it's watching
it pisses
you.
me off. Yes. I don't care. Let
'Cause
them
it's
watch.
watching you.
I'm already on an FBI watch list. What do I care?
I am too now.
How'd you get on there?
I'm a veteran.
And that just put you on the
That's-
FBI watch list immediately?
Yeah,
yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, was it also because of your first being a combat engineer?
Shh. They taught me how to blow stuff up,
Yeah.
and now they put me on a list. That's their fault. Not
And then
mine.
I'm on a list
Yes.
What are you on the list for?
because I'm his wife.
Mhm.
So they put you on the list also?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know if she's on the list, but they definitely keep track. So, like, so when you would, yeah. So
NSA is very bored by me, I'm sure.
Hey, babe, can you get the tinfoil hats out of the bag?
I'm telling you, man. Like, you sound crazy when you start thinking about all this stuff. But so, like, when I would be filling out my paperwork to renew my security clearance, like, it would auto-populate her data.
Really?
Yeah.
And every time I fly now, I get pulled out of the line and checked.
Really? Like every time?
Yeah. Every time I have flown since I have been with him, it never happened to me before. But ever since we got married, it's happened every single time.
Wow. Hell, never get married.
The few times I've been pulled out,
it's
a few times I've been pulled out of the line, it's literally like the day before or that morning I was like cleaning my guns or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, we just need to swab your hands. I was like, oh fuck, here we go.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So,
like you have GSR on
You have
Yeah.
to
on
unplug your
hands.
guys' mic if you keep laughing.
And it's like, but they swab it and it doesn't come back with anything significant. But it's one of those like without fail. I've only been pulled out for random searches, 3 or 4 times. And I travel a lot. I do drive a lot of it while when I do it, but I'm going to say 3 of those, like 4 times where I've been randomly selected, I was either handling guns or cleaning guns like that day or the night before.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fuck, here we go.
Yeah.
This is going to be a whole process. I'm going to miss my flight.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to do. He's still a sex offender too. So.
Yeah.
That's, the courts are undecided.
So there was this one time we were flying back from the regional training center in California. And we were flying out of San Jose Airport, but literally the day before we were out at the demo range blowing up our XS demo. And so they brought it's like we're all lined up. There's 120 of us getting ready to go through the airport, and they bring a dog by, and he just starts tripping on everybody's bag. And the TSA guys are just looking at us like, what the fuck are we gonna do? And we're like, oh crap.
But ball's in your court now.
Yeah. And so they're like, well, we need you guys to start opening up your bag. We got to search them. We're like, all right. And so, they go in there. Of course, the first thing they grab out of my bag is my Gerber, which is the same. We have a special Gerber for us engineers. It's got an extra plunger on it, so you can stick it in there, so you can stick the blasting caps in C4, right? Mm-hmm. So we use it quite often.
Which it's gonna have traces.
Yeah. So the first thing they grab out of there is my Gerber, and I was like, oh yeah, brother, I wouldn't even bother with that. Like, I'm gonna pop hot. He's like, all of you guys? And I was like, oh yeah, all of us. We were at the demo range yesterday. And we got out of the fields this morning. So everybody's
we're trying to save you some paperwork.
Yeah. And we're all wearing the same uniform, and we've been wearing for the last week because we haven't showered. So yeah.
Nice.
Right.
So are you still involved with the military now? Or are you completely out?
I'm completely out unless they recall me. I got one more year left.
So you're not completely out.
No.
So what would happen if you got recalled? What is that?
Basically, you just go back into the military. So once you join, they basically so if you do like a standard active duty contract, so a standard 4-year contract, you have to do 4 years in what's called the IRR, or the Individual Readiness Reserve. And so basically, they are able to recall you into active service again. But you're only in that for so long. But in reality, it doesn't really matter how long it's been since you've been in. If they need you, they will recall you.
They own you.
Oh yeah.
It's in the fine print.
Yeah.
Like here's your real here's your contract, but now there's well, really, we can call you back whenever.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just like if they do an investigation, you're like, oh, I retired 10 years ago, but they found out that you were, doing something illegal, selling weapons or whatever while you were in service, they can recall you to active duty just to put you on court-martial. Yep.
So how do you feel like the military's changed from like when you first went in to today?
Oh, it's not even the same army.
Is it like is more gay?
No, I wouldn't say.
Well, I mean, more. Like has like the open.
That was a terrible choice of words.
No, but also at the same time, that's kind of exactly what I mean, though. Is it really more sensitive? Like just me saying that triggered
I think
a lot
you could
of
have said soft.
She was staring daggers through.
I didn't mean to give you that harsh of a look, but you could have definitely said soft.
It was harder than 2 dicks on each other. But I guess more eloquently worded, is it softer?
A lot of it just depends on the kind of unit you're in. If you're still in a combat arms unit, it's still going to be a lot of your alpha type males, and so there's going to be a lot of gay stuff going on. There's no such thing as being gay in the military. Like, let's be honest, everybody's gay in the military. The amount of times that I've had,
you might have to break that down for me.
Oh no,
I know like. The behavior he's
I know.
It's when we gotta start bucking up. It's
they're swinging dicks everywhere.
You looked at my dick.
Well, I mean, you think about it this way. Just in basic training alone. So say you're going through basic training. I was in a 60-man bay, so I lived in a bay with 60 other dudes. You have no privacy in there, and you have a shower, a shared bathroom. And during basic training, we would do 2-minute shower drills. So you'd have 24 people in a 12-man shower, and you would just sit there and swap out every couple of seconds. So you get under there, get yourself wet, swap out, and then you start lathering yourself up while the other buddy's getting wet, and you would just keep doing that until you were done, and hopefully you get done in 2 minutes. So you get used to being around dudes pretty close in an intimate environment, and you're just like, this is all just...
Your best friend, your battle buddy was also
gay. Archer. Yeah, my best friend was gay. Yeah.
Well, I have nothing against gay people whatsoever.
I didn't think so.
But I
But,
guess
I mean,
but
he suffered a lot because of
Yeah.
that too. When people found out, like people would just beat the shit out of him. He would get, he got excluded from a lot of shit. Especially for people that you're supposed to be serving with, left and right. But it's just those prejudices. A lot of it just comes from how people are raised.
Mm-hmm. So, what's the softest branch of military in your opinion?
Ooh, that's definitely the Coast Guard. Fuck you, Coasties. They're like, I've done 6 deployments this year. It's like, because your deployments are 2 weeks long. Fuck you. Like, all of my deployments were over 400 days. Like, go fuck yourself.
So,
Coasties.
Yeah, Coasties.
The Twin Towers being a huge event that caused people to enlist and start that, fire for someone to want to defend their country. In hindsight, after 12 years in the military, do you believe that America had involvement as part of a conspiracy in that and you were lied to?
Oh, well, I mean, it depends on how you really want to look at it.
So, because, we've all probably heard everything, how it's, the government, America planned it or whatever, and just trying to peek behind the curtain from your experience actually being behind the scenes and defending this country, serving your life to that. Do you believe that there's any role at all, or is it just a straight up terrorist attack, or any conspiracy at all that you've been on that side of things, be like, you know what, maybe this is a little weirder than I thought it was?
I could probably go a little bit of both on that. Just because of how the contracting worked with a lot of the, with like KBR and Mantech and all that stuff. The amount of money that was just being thrown around over there was just ridiculous. Like in Iraq, they'd be driving in a convoy, nice Mercedes semis. They'd blow out a tire, and then we would just give them a brand new Mercedes semi for a blown out tire. We'd be like, why didn't you just pay the $600 for a new tire or $1,200 or whatever it is? Instead, we're going to buy you a $500,000 truck. So
Yeah, that's
so you see a lot of that shit going around left and right, and everybody's just getting handouts. Plus, I mean, if you didn't know, when Iraq and Afghanistan, like the FBI was there, you had State Department was there, like the actual State Department, not the other State Department. Well, the other State Department was there too, but we don't talk about them. You had the DEA there, like you had the ATF there, like you had all these supposedly domestic services for the United States, but they're all in another country, 7,000 miles from home.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the hell are you doing there? Like, why do we have FBI agents in a war zone?
Which FBI is supposed to cover domestic,
yes.
Exclusively domestic.
Exclusively domestic.
Right.
That's what the CIA is for.
Yeah.
They
Right.
are supposed to be for international.
So what were they doing
CIA
over
is
there?
supposed to be international. FBI is supposed to be domestic.
Yeah.
And CIA is not supposed to operate on U.S. soil because unless you're affiliated with some sort of investigation.
Yeah. They can have joint operations.
Yeah,
all the
with
time.
an FBI unit.
Yeah,
Or,
but they
something
just
like
cannot
that.
be the lead on
Right.
it. Yeah. To my understanding, anyways. But yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Right.
that's the gray area.
Yeah, I know,
on
right?
everything.
Yeah.
So what were they doing over there?
So I mean, a lot of it, they were doing what they would do back in the States. The FBI, they did a lot of manhunts. So they were looking for high value targets. The DEA, because the big export in Afghanistan was drugs. Like, and that's how they paid for the majority of their shit.
Opium,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, you mentioned earlier that you were burning
Yeah.
poppy fields.
Oh
and
yeah, we
stuff?
burn the poppy fields all the time. But the crazy thing is, like, we would burn the poppy fields, but we wouldn't give them crops to grow because we wouldn't want them to compete with U.S. farmers in the U.S. market. So we would just pay them for the lost crop, and then they would just plant the drugs again, and then we would just come back and burn it, and then give them money, and then the cycle would just continue.
So did you see stuff like that specifically happening over there that was to control a market in America as opposed to just actually trying to keep them from doing so? Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
To like they were trying to have you do things that was for the sake of war, but was really just trying to better control money in America as opposed to actually defending America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to my understanding, that's what I was told. That's why we were doing it. It didn't really make sense to me. Like, why are we paying these people? Like, they're double dipping now. So, like, what's the point?
You grow it, we pay it. Or
Yeah.
we grow it, you pay us. We grow it, you pay us.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And they're just going to turn around and keep buying weapons with that shit.
Well, instead of like, instead of us we grow it and we sell it, like, no, we grow it, you burn it, and then you pay us because you burned it.
Yeah.
So they're still getting paid for it
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point though, is they're still doing it, and we're still giving them money, and they're just still going to turn around and use that to buy weapons to shoot at us with.
It's our money, not their money.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
instead of them selling it to their own people, we're paying them to
shoot at us.
not sell it.
No, we're paying them to shoot at us. Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. Hey.
I just noticed what Tom's shirt said. It says peace, love, and hollow points.
I mean, everybody does love a hollow point.
Hollow points are for when the first two don't work.
Mm-hmm.
Try peace, try love. Well, neither. They both failed. Well, now you're down to hollow points.
No, I'll just skip straight to the napalm.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so we were talking. We did a podcast earlier today, and talking about wives coming home with stories and stuff, and how that affects our relationships. Now, on the other side of this, being in the military, bringing home stories, how does that affect your day-to-day life?
A lot of that depended on the story. There were a lot of stories I didn't.
Well, I
didn't
guess
bring home,
you worked on the road a lot and came
Yeah.
back home, and I can only imagine. We're talking about PTSD and the stuff that you experience and see over there, and then coming back home and then dealing with civilian life.
Yeah.
So I've never actually had the opportunity to really talk to a veteran at this capacity to see like what that actually is from your perspective coming home and having to completely compartmentalize your experience to handle a day-to-day routine here in America.
Yeah.
So what kind of if you will, with respect to everything you've experienced, how was that transition? How that
it was rough. My first deployment wasn't too bad. My second deployment really fucked me up. But basically what I did when I got back is I had a bunch of leave accrued, and I took off for about 90 days, and I went and locked myself in a hotel room, and I just drank and sweated that shit out, and I paid for that entire hotel room because I destroyed that motherfucker. Yeah, I did. I destroyed it. But
So how long were you in there? The hotel room?
I was in there for about 90 days.
90 days.
Yeah, I secluded myself.
Man.
I was not in a great place. Like I was angry about everything. Like anybody come near me, like I just wanted to rip your throat out, and like I just wanted nothing to do with anybody. But on that deployment, I also lost my best friend, so like I was dealing with a lot.
So, which, like, I don't want to,
No, you're
like,
good.
with respect to what you've been through, I don't want to get into like what you experienced out there. But what was so like coming back, and what made you feel like you had to do that to just be normal again, to make yourself, to like detox your experience?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, like being in deployment, being over there, you're pretty much in prison. So everything is black and white. Like you have rules for engagement, you have rules for how you walk around the fob, like what equipment you're supposed to have. Like there's just rules for everything, and it's very structured. That's why I think most of us are autistic anyways, and we like the structure. But when you come back and everything is just flipped upside down, like there's too much technology, like you're just like, I've never even seen this stuff before. I didn't even know this was real. Like what the hell is this? So everything is just completely different. So you're just going from one new world to another. What one just feels like home, but it also doesn't. And people we're always just afraid to come up and talk to you, or they're just completely ignorant and come up and would just start asking you stupid questions. Hey man, what's it like to kill people? And like, why don't you go stand in the road and I'll fucking show you? Like, why would you ask me such a stupid question, dumbass?
Are you trying to get a rise out of me?
Yeah,
Like,
and I get kids do that to me all the time, but like adults, I'm like, how fucking
That's so
stupid are you? Yeah.
Well, and I think that stuff is so glorified in America.
Yeah.
From, like every white bitch around here loves a good serial killer documentary.
Yeah.
No one wants to know about it, and I don't think they realize the like what they're even really asking, because they have even no way to conceptualize anything close to that.
They don't know the cost.
Yeah.
Well,
Mentally the cost,
Yeah.
not even obviously there's-
mentally, physically,
But I just
emotionally.
mean they don't know the cost of what he's going through.
Yeah.
Has
So
gone
it-
through.
the repercussions.
That's what I was gonna say. It's
Yeah.
like there's just this huge ignorance about.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, you're gonna break down. What's it like to kill people? Like, yes, that's exactly what we're doing over there.
Yeah.
Nothing but that. Nothing. That's the only thing. We're just over there.
Well, what I usually tell them is about the time I had to run over a little kid, and that usually gets them to shut up. I'm like, yeah, so that's the story you asked for. Well, I didn't want to know that. Too fucking bad. You shouldn't have asked then. So here you go. I'm going to ruin your day now because you ruined mine. Thank you. Right. You know, like, go fuck yourself, you stupid bitch.
Ask. You can ask a respectable question.
Yeah,
you can ask her opinion.
If you would take the time to get to know him, maybe he would have kind of these kind of conversations with you. But just asking him as a random stranger, as a person who doesn't know him, is not exactly a way to make friends.
Yeah.
So, like, would people just come up and ask you as a stranger? Really?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's bizarre to me because I don't think anyone here at this table would ever even think
Not
of that.
in a million
Well,
years.
the funny fact is, from my experience anyways, and everybody's maybe different, but from mine, the majority of the people who do that are boomers. Yeah, like just
that generation?
Like just
Really?
the older generation, like the Gen X and the boomers, yeah.
The ones who didn't serve.
Yeah.
Gen X, what age? Is that me? My
Yes.
Gen X?
Yeah, I don't know. How old are you?
You're a millennial.
34.
No, you're a millennial. Yeah.
So is Gen X below me or above
No,
me?
they're above us. They're between
Okay.
us and the boomers.
So I guess like our parents would
You're a
be
millennial?
Gen X.
Mine's a boomer. Barely.
It depends on how old your parents are.
Yeah.
Like mid to upper 50s. I don't know, Dad.
Like both my parents are in their 70s. Me and Nick are a year apart, but my parents are in their 70s.
Yeah.
His are in their 50s.
So like my dad was born in 57. My mom was born in 61. So they're both boomers. Yeah,
Okay,
they're
my
right
dad
there
was
at
born
the
in
tail.
65.
My mom's born in 1950. My dad's born in
he's
52.
he's a boom X.
Yeah.
That's strange.
But,
You know,
yeah.
I feel like they would have a better awareness and respect for that to just.
But
I mean,
from my experience, not really, because they were so desensitized to that shit from Vietnam.
They were make love, not war.
Well,
kids.
Right,
Yeah.
Vietnam and Korea.
Yeah,
all these wars that they thought we
Yeah,
shouldn't
well, I
be
mean-
in.
Well, in Vietnam was the first war that was like televised. You know, like
Yeah.
it was the first war that was televised. You watched it every night, and it was like it wasn't a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had
terrible
Vietnam, and then you had Kosovo, Panama, Gulf War,
Somalia.
Somalia. You know, so
Rwanda.
Mm-hmm. And so I think at that point, but especially after Vietnam, like they were just so turned off from it because they just didn't want to do anything with it. Which whatever, military's not for everybody. I get it, but like don't shit on me for doing it. Like piece of shit. Go walk out in traffic. You waste of fucking oxygen.
I love this guy.
Again, just you couldn't do it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm doing it, so you don't have to do it.
Yeah, like that's
Yeah.
fine.
Right.
It's just like college. Not everybody's meant to go to college. You don't go to college, that's fine. Doesn't mean you're a piece of shit, but like don't shit on somebody else for doing it.
Actually, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to think that when you do go to college, you are a piece of shit.
It did.
I was a piece of shit in college.
Yeah, it just depends.
I went when I went to college. I had really no interest in going to college, but I didn't have a career in mind. I didn't have.
That's
whatever.
all we were told growing up is you want to be something, you have to go to college.
Right, and that's what I had. It was you ever want to be something, you need to go to college. We never I had friends and stuff, and still do, that are in trades and mechanics and HVAC and engineers, or not engineers, like heavy construction and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That either in limited college or no college at all, and they're more successful than, I'm gonna say, about 90% of the people that I know that went to college, because everybody like myself went to college with this idea, like, oh well, when I get out, there's gonna be the jobs are gonna be lined up for me. And they're not.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are if you got trades.
Well, right.
Yeah.
If you have trades, absolutely, you can kind of name your price and go basically wherever you want. Now you come out as a just out of college, and every place wants finance, advertising.
You need 5 years of experience
yeah.
for an entry level job.
Yeah.
An entry level job, minimum 5 years experience.
By the way, we're gonna pay you $35,000.
Right.
Or less.
Yeah.
Right. Or a non-paid internship.
Yeah.
But you
Right.
still need 5 years experience to get into.
What's crazy is I work for a 2-year university now. It's a technical university, so we do a lot of trade-based stuff. I mean, we got students coming out of our high voltage program. They're making 6 figures their first year.
Oh gosh,
That's
yeah.
paid
I mean-
internships. I have a work study right now. That dude's gonna go build bridges this summer. He's making $50 an hour.
Baltimore?
No, Arkansas.
Too soon.
It's never too soon with Tom.
Hey,
I don't
Hey,
believe
hey,
it too soon. I got shit to do.
you heard about that guy collecting that like $1 trillion insurance policy on that bridge, right?
No, I didn't hear about
I heard
that.
I heard the government was paying to fix it.
Yeah, but there was some fucking billionaire.
Singapore needs to pay for it.
Yeah. But no, there was like some billionaire who had an insurance policy on that bridge and he collected like $1 trillion off of it.
No, what?
Well,
Yeah.
so after that happened, they're like, oh, they lost power, so they lost steering and whatever.
Yeah.
I saw somebody visit like actual like cargo ship captains like, oh well, no, if you lose power, the backup generators kick on. And
Yeah.
we have dual, so you can never actually lose steering on a boat like this. Like,
Yeah.
like literally like 1,000 things would have to go wrong in succession for you to complete like, like that's
See,
why
that's what I thought. would
Surely
happen.
they're
Like, you
investigating it,
like
right?
that one.
Yeah,
but
they are.
that's
Like
why
you
they
blow
have,
a fuse and hit a bridge. Like it can't be that.
right. No, that's why they have like aircraft.
Yeah.
they have redundant systems that
Yeah.
always keep everything going. And then I haven't read it yet, and I don't whatever it means putting it on this. A buddy of mine sent me an article saying that ISIS claimed responsibility for the bridge in
I haven't
Baltimore.
heard
really?
anything about that.
Yeah.
I
Again,
know.
he sent me the article. I haven't had a chance to
Yeah.
read through it yet.
Well, he's
Well,
still learning to read at the
Yeah.
same time. So.
It's hard,
I
man.
got to sound out all the
Hey,
words and.
when you're hooked on phonics, you're hooked. I'm telling you.
So I have a question for the wife, Allison. Okay, so
It's gonna make me look bad.
no,
Oh,
no,
gee,
no.
thanks. Thanks for your confidence, honey.
No, your face does that.
No,
No. So
not the stash.
being a political science major, and we've talked a little bit of politics and stuff. How has Goose's experiences that you've witnessed and gone through on a personal level changed your belief and views about government and what's going on? Has that affected it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we talked about it briefly, but I mean, I said some really terrible things to him when he was getting ready to do. Was it Afghanistan or Iraq?
Afghanistan.
Okay, when he was getting ready to go Afghanistan.
So let's what did you say?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't remember entirely, but I'm sure it had something to the effect of you're acting like a criminal, blah, blah, blah. The United States are criminals, blah, blah, blah. Something to that effect, probably.
Yeah. It was something along those lines. All I remember was saying is you voted for him, not me, and then
I didn't
talk to you for like 6 years.
I didn't support. I didn't support what was going on over there. I thought we were there under false pretenses. And I still feel that way in a lot of ways, that the United States made up a lot of stuff to put us over there for oil, mostly.
I would say I believe that too. For my limited knowledge.
But seeing what he has gone through and the mental toll and the stories and the things that he shared with me completely changes how I felt about him in those situations. I still don't feel like the U.S. was totally truthful in why we were there. But everything that he did, I mean, he did what he had to do. He was doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing what he goes through every single day, because PTSD changes every day. It changes with the weather. In fact, he struggles more in the summer than in the winter. And, I just tried to do what I can to support him as his wife. Like, I just want to be there for him and for him to know that he can come and talk to me if he wants to. But he also knows that I won't understand completely, but he always can talk to me. And I'll always be there to listen.
What's real interesting too about your guys' situation, which is pretty awesome, is to see like how divided America is today. Trump, Biden, all the fucking bullshit or whatever. But for like this exact situation, to realize we really are on the same fucking team. We all are. We all
Absolutely.
want the same thing. And to see, that and a general understanding, and no matter what side you vote on, there's I believe a lot of Democratic side. I really don't claim any political party. I think they're all liars, and I would say I'm more libertarian, I guess.
Yeah.
They're all lying, And but to realize we're all here in America trying to figure stuff out and to stop hating each other, and whether you believe in more social stuff or whatever, just see like you guys come together and like, still love each other. And I feel like that's how the country should be.
Yeah.
And, but I guess that's why I was asking that question to see, because it's so crazy right now.
Yeah.
It's so crazy of everything that's going on.
I mean,
And none of it really fucking matters at all.
Well,
I wouldn't say it doesn't fucking matter.
No.
But like, the shit that we're really fighting
there's
about.
a lot that matters, but I think everything today is very politically charged. With
the intention to divide, though.
With an agenda,
I would agree.
With an agenda that is not what the headline is. That's not the agenda. Is
right.
to account for this or draw attention to that. It's to draw attention away from what's going on over here.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you two keep bickering, so you don't know that we're doing X, Y, and Z over here.
And even in our relationship, we disagree on several topics. But that's what I enjoy about him is that we call them deep talks, but we'll have these really deep conversations about, an issue. We'll read an article or something or watch something, and it gets us talking about something really deep. And we've disagreed on a lot of stuff, but I'm his number one fan always. So regardless if we agree or disagree, he still loves me. I still love him. And he's allowed to think what he's allowed to think because he's shaped by his experiences. His military experience has completely changed him, just like my experience in life has changed me. So I can't judge him forever on things that we said to each other, 10 years ago by now.
Well, I think that's why this might work is that there's the offsetting balance on something like in my opinion, healthy relationship, you're not supposed to agree all the time. 24/7.
No, that would be so boring.
Well, one, it's boring, but two, you're just making each other the worst versions of yourself if you just agree with each other all the time.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying it could be the best intention behavior or the worst intention behavior. If you just agree with each other all the time, you don't ever challenge why, or why do you think that?
I think
you're gonna make
he's changed
the worst version of yourself.
He's changed the way I feel about certain things because of the conversations we've had, and I think I've changed your mind in some things. We learn from each other, and he's given me really great perspective on what he was at, what he did over there, and hearing those things changed how I felt. It was just having an open conversation. He and I think our biggest quality in our relationship is we're open communicators. I probably overshare with him too much sometimes.
That's the hairstylist in you.
Yeah. Somebody
it's the anxiety too, but I think that's something we get right and have gotten right.
Well, I think a lot of the time people just forget that in a relationship you need to maintain your individualism. Like you can be together, but you don't need to be the same damn person.
Oh, something attracted you to each other.
Yeah,
and it was
unique
unique about whatever.
Yeah,
and it's not because they agreed with you on everything, because that's not like you're supposed to have a little give and take and back and forth and keep each other in check.
And I'll say
much like the branches of government are supposed to.
Keep
each other in check of like we want to do this. We're like, well, that's a terrible fucking idea.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
And it's a really great perk for me that he looks fantastic in a uniform. So.
Hey,
and a mustache.
He does, doesn't he?
I'm so proud he is.
It's my favorite. No, he a couple of weeks ago
that's a
he
face I sit on.
This little tickle button.
Yeah. It definitely is.
Listen.
Who wants a mustache ride?
Now the ladies can leave the room.
It's my favorite. It is my favorite. No, he looks great in a uniform, so that's a bonus for me.
So what are you doing now that you're out of the military?
So I do recruitment for a college right now while I'm going to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Recruiting for a college.
Yeah.
What is that? You just talk people into it, like how you got recruited to the military? You just promise them things that
no.
It's just one weekend a month and 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. I promise. In and out.
Full circle. First circle moment.
You're gonna get a degree in just one weekend a month, 2 weeks a year.
Well, so it's actually funny you bring that up because I actually did convince one of my work studies to join the Army. But yeah, college was not working out for him. But he had a lot of issues going on at home, like a lot of stuff in his personal life, and he's trying to take care of his 2 sisters by himself while working 2 full-time jobs and going to college full-time. Yeah, so I was like, look, man, like, you might need to, find something better for yourself to, at least have you a guaranteed job, guaranteed paycheck. You get 3 hots on the cot at least, and you get insurance.
You get what?
3
Three
hots.
three hot meals and a place to sleep.
Yeah,
Oh, 3 hots and a cot.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Cot with it.
Yeah.
CO cot.
Yeah, COT.
3 hots and a cock.
That too.
He heard 3 hot cocks.
Yeah. Hey, no. You
I
save
hear what I hear. I might be a queer.
Yeah. Hey, you save that for when you're doing your mountain warfare training and it's nice and cold. You just got to cuddle up, Buttercup.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
I ain't scared, man.
Hey.
Shoot, I might be gay. I haven't decided yet.
Just take that fanny pack off and cuddle up real close.
Hey, man, you do what you got to do. I was like, man, I've been in cuddle piles of like 7 dudes.
And he's a great cuddler.
I am a great cuddler.
Oh, yeah. Man, dude, men know how to cuddle.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I don't think women really get it.
No.
Excuse you.
No. You try to kill me in your sleep.
Well,
I'm hoping one of these days you'll get it right.
I think men
No,
are
no, you know what? No, I agree. I think there's a reason women don't know how to cuddle because you only want to be cuddled. You don't want to cuddle.
No, that's not true. Sometimes
No,
I'm a
that's-
small spoon. I don't care.
Oh, it's because
Yeah, well, sometimes.
You were small
Dude.
spoon this afternoon.
Nick
No, I wasn't.
loves it every now and then.
You
Nick
slept
loves
on
to be
me.
the small spoon
This
every
morning,
morning. I am the epitome of a small spoon.
Hey, that's cool, man.
I love it, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you wake up.
Get
the
up
small
on this
spoon,
ass,
you-
girl.
Yeah.
You got to keep these cheeks warm.
Hey, that's how she was when I worked at the cement plant. Oh God,
He
no.
had the biggest ass when
Yeah.
he worked at the cement
Well,
plant.
yeah.
Dude, I'll straight up fart in that cooter hole that she
Yeah.
gets on that. It echoes, man.
Oh man.
I call it the subwoofer.
Yeah.
No, he was walking up so many
Well,
stairs.
she doesn't even move though when I do it too. She's like, "Hump,
Yeah.
next stop." Doesn't move a muscle.
At least it's warm for a minute.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He would walk up so many stairs, it gave him the juiciest, bubbliest booty.
Yeah, I was doing like 30 to 50 flights of stairs a night.
Golly.
Yeah.
Oh, thick boy.
So
Yeah.
he'd be in the shower, and I'd just
Mm-hmm.
A little
Yeah.
kickback.
It was
want
one
to
of
be friends with it.
yeah. Well,
no shit.
Well, so like it was bad. So when I got out of the army, I put on a bunch of weight, right? Mm-hmm. So I got up to almost like 250, and then I lost all the weight, came back down to around 190, 195, where I am now. And when I started working at that plant, obviously my pants didn't fit. Well, my ass ended up getting so big from all those damn stairs that I like the jeans that were 2 sizes too big for me were now just barely getting over my ass, and I was like, oh crap.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I think that could be a recruiting perk.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Yeah, and then she's like, now I understand why you're an ass man. I was like, I fucking told you.
yeah.
Can't help it. You see a nice ass, you just can't help
I
it.
mean, he in the shower just.
Yeah.
Bongos.
Yeah.
He had those apple bottom jeans on.
Yeah, I did, man.
He sure did.
Boots with the fur.
Oh, yeah. Whole club.
I was
So-
looking at you though.
Like, how old are you?
I'm about to turn 32.
32. So we're close to the same age. Like us, when we were going to military age, we're tough dudes, I feel like.
Mm.
And I see 18-year-olds now.
It's definitely different.
It's a fucking joke.
Yeah. So there was this thing when when I got in, so like there was this big thing called like the shark attack, right? It was like the very first time like you finally get to where you're doing your boot camp at, right? Mm-hmm. And the drill sergeants just like swarm the bus. They start yelling at you. It's just utter chaos, right? You're trying to just get your shit, get off the bus, and just do what you're told, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's just panicking. It's your first time away from home. Nobody really knows anybody. Like, right? Yeah. So it's a pretty stressful event. Like, you're supposed to go up there and like dump all your shit out, and then you're sitting there doing like inventory with them. Yeah, like it's a stupid thing, right? But it just used to stress people out so much. Yeah, well, they ended up getting rid of that because it would stress people out too much.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
So when did they get rid of that?
Because war's not a stressful situation.
Yeah,
at
no,
all.
no. It's all hugs and kisses
Yeah.
and butterflies and
just high fiving the enemy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, come here. Let
me take a selfie, and then
Yeah.
we were here together.
But first, let's take a selfie.
Yeah.
Why is that phone ringing? Boom! You're like, oh shit. Okay.
So, what's the hope of our military? I don't know any strong 18-year-olds. or anything at all? Like,
Well, that depends. If you ask DARPA, they've solved that question. So actually, DARPA's been working like an exosuit. So you remember
what's DARPA?
That's the Defense Research. I can't remember what the whole acronym is, but they're an agency of the Department of Defense, if I'm not mistaken, but they do research projects for the Defense Department and stuff like that. So when we're not given like buku's amount of money to Boeing or whatever private company.
The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so they do all like the cool buku stuff, right? But they've actually been working on like an exosuit. Did you play Call of Duty Advanced Warfare?
No, I stopped at Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, okay, good. Well, anyways, and they're all trash now. Anyways, I said what I said.
No,
Hey.
you're not wrong.
Oh, I know. I've been playing Call of Duty since it first came out. I'm that old. I remember having the very first one, and that one is still the OG to me. I don't care.
Yeah, well, I started on Modern Warfare 2. It's
Oh no.
yeah,
I remember having the first one. Very
I
first
was gonna
one.
say
played it.
the only thing I'll say about the, I think it's not the newest one, but
Yeah.
Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
So you used to play Ground War, and it was the same game, just on a larger map. The Ground War in Modern Warfare 2, I feel like is a lot more of a realistic dynamic as far as range and whatever. Where it's not just like, oh, everybody's in a 100 yard by 100 yard box.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
run around. It's
Close
like,
enough, I can just start lobbing 203s across the map.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm setting up javelins. I'm setting frags.
Yeah.
I'm just chucking them
Let me
around.
just chuck a
and
knife and
see
hit
it.
somebody that just spawned in.
Right.
Yeah.
Like now it's like, oh no, you actually have to run for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
the next closest
And
person.
I mean that's the way it should be. But
But that's the first time I've ever. That right there is what I always thought Call of Duty should have been.
yeah. Yeah,
It is
it
where
definitely should have been.
Like, this actual thing of like, oh hey, this guy's 1,000 yards away. Like, pull up my sniper scope, and he's not just like, oh, he's right there. It's like, no, like you see this little dot moving,
Yeah.
and you're trying to hit him from 1,000
Yeah.
yards away.
Yeah, I mean that's what I appreciated about that map.
right.
Was one the difference in the terrains, because I think a lot of games they don't like to do urban environments.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
Well, it's
Urban environments. Don't get me wrong, they're incredibly hard.
Son of a
especially
bitch.
for man, you just can't win with that shit.
I can't
tonight.
win.
What'd you do?
So everybody's
no.
just on audio right now. All my sound foam keeps falling off the fucking wall. Driving me crazy.
We've been laughing because we're like, he's gonna lose it. He's just gonna lose it.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like they try to stay. To me, it feels like they try to stay away from the urban environments, and that's really where you want it. Like urban warfare
I mean,
is insane, man.
that is anything that would ever happen in this country. Most countries
Yeah,
would
exactly.
be urban warfare.
Yeah, and
But
just
I can't
for, like,
I can't
video-
say that they don't do that by design. They don't want you to know how to operate in an urban warfare environment.
too damn bad. They trained me how to do it.
Well, they trained you. They don't want the average person.
That's okay.
Well,
do you think-
do you
okay.
think the average
Wait.
person is learning about urban warfare through modern warfare video games, though?
I think some of the certain tactic. Well,
I mean,
if
you can translate a lot more than you think.
if you, especially if you play with like the same group of guys like you would a team in any sort of situation, you can actually navigate the team or the whatever the scenario pretty well.
Well, it's just like, I mean, you think about it this way: the three fundamentals of combat: shoot, move, communicate. Right?
Son of a fucking bitch. It's all falling off. It's all falling off.
I think you have the AC up here.
Is it blowing on you too much?
No, I think it's making it too cold. The adhesives pulling off.
There's
It's
just,
70 degrees. What do you mean it's too cold?
it's Oklahoma, though, man.
Thanks, Obama.
But yeah.
We used to say thanks Obama for the dumbest shit
Yes.
back in the
Oh,
day.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
raining. Thanks Obama.
Yeah.
100%. Did you ever see that video of like it showed President Obama trying to dunk a cookie into a glass of milk and the cookie was too big?
Oh, yeah.
He was like, "Thanks, Obama." I had respect for that, making fun of himself.
I like the original Hangover. Like, yeah, it's not illegal. It's frowned upon. Like masturbating on an airplane. Like, pretty sure that's illegal too. Yeah, maybe after 9/11, when everybody got so sensitive. Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
Yeah. Hey, all I'm saying is I'm just pissed about the security lines at TSA now.
Well,
Because I remember back before 9/11, you'd just be able to walk straight through the airport right to your gate. Yeah, like there was no security. It was more of a suggestion. You'd be like, do you want to run your bag through the exit? You'd be like, not really. And I'd be like, oh, okay, have a great day.
but in all the years that TSA has been, active in the capacity they are now, like, what have they found or caught or stopped?
Oh,
they've actually looked that up. Actually,
no, they actually publish. If I remember correctly, they publish their fines like statistics. So it's actually you can actually look it up.
Look up.
Isn't there a National Geographic
everything that TSA has caught?
Border.
But again, like,
Border control.
Yeah.
Border TSA.
Yeah, there is.
And I guess so what I would say is, catching somebody like me that I went through TSA once with a Leatherman.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you can't have that. And they're like, I didn't even know it was in my bag that I just a daily.
Yeah.
Like it was in some side compartment. Like, oh.
Yeah.
I tried to take it and blame, like, well, what do you want to do with it? I'm like, well,
I just forgot, dude.
like, they're like, well,
perfect.
You can either go.
Now they're tossing my toothpaste because the bottle's too big.
Yeah.
Right, but you can either go, check your bag or, we have to toss it. I'm like, well, my plane's in 10 minutes. I'm not going back to the ticket counter to check my bag.
Yeah.
Like, I guess toss it.
Yeah.
It's $120 Leatherman.
Yeah.
But it's one of those of like, well, I have TSA pre-check. Like, I've already had the background screening.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
No. but I'm saying though, it's like, well, I'm already cleared on this level of security that I'm not a threat.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it really matter if I have that?
Because you never know.
Well, again, I'm well aware of that.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't make sense.
But like to me, that guy right there is, and this is where they say 9/11 changed a lot of it. Box cutters and whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the average person. Like I carry a pocket knife every day of my life since I was about 11 years old.
Yeah, and
I can't fly with it because whatever. It's like I'm not the guy you're looking for.
Yeah,
I'm not. Clean history, background check. You can run my name through fucking anything.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
So actually, I got a story about that. So when we were going to Iraq, we're all getting on the plane, or we're all in the airport, and we have to travel with our weapons, right? Because we signed for them. It's mine. Like, don't touch it. I'll kill you. So like we're going through. Yeah, I'll kill you. So we're all traveling through the airport. Mind you, I was a saw gunner, so I had the big monster machine gun trapped to my chest, and they make us go through TSA. Well, I forgot that I had fingernail clippers in my assault bag. And they're like, you can't take this on the plane. I look at my chest and I was like, that's what you're worried about. That's what you're worried about. Not this gun that does, I have a 200 round drum for and does 700 rounds per minute. Not a big deal. Yeah, it's the fingernail clippers.
It's just about the weight on the plane.
Yeah.
No, they don't want to compete with your manicure skills on the plane. You got to sell that as an upcharge.
Yeah, but I need that because I'm going to a desert in the middle of nowhere, and they're going to charge me like $12 for those.
And he can't stand when his fingernails are like.
Oh, this is too long.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised. Oh my god, I'm surprised they're that long.
I know. I've been traveling a lot, man.
Just use your teeth like every man.
I know. I'm gonna have to. But yeah, it was just you come across stupid stuff like that all the time.
That's wild, man, to think about. So we pulled up in 2023, TSA screened more than 858 million individuals, which indicates the agency intercepted 7.8 firearms per million. Blah, blah, blah. TSA stopped 1,665 firearms at checkpoints. So 1,665 times they had to take a gun away from somebody.
Now, see,
now, do you think it was just like somebody?
But somebody like me, I've traveled with a firearm.
Yeah,
I don't even know how many times because
to an airport.
Yeah,
well,
you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so you can take your gun through the airport.
You just have to check it.
Well, it has to be in a checked bag. You have to declare it with TSA, and they put a special tag. So
it's not a carry-on.
But again, supposedly your bag is, when you fly with a firearm, you're supposed to have to go to like the baggage claim office and like show your ID and whatever.
Right.
You know how many times I pay, like, hey, you have to declare your firearm.
Right.
and then it'll be waiting on the other end, and they just put it on the normal baggage claim. So somebody.
Well, that's what happened with that shootout.
But somebody could walk up and grab my wrong bag, which I mostly have black fucking suitcases.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, and like I waited an hour once at baggage claim. Like, do you have my bag? Like, no, it's over on the carousel. I'm like, what?
Why?
Why are we going through this whole
process?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know how it is. Rules only work as well as people that implement them.
Well, that's very true.
But that's what I was going to ask is, out of that statistic, how many was it just people that didn't clear their firearms, people that didn't, properly secure them or anything like that? So, I mean, like, you just don't know anymore. But I think that's what gets a lot of people nowadays. You just don't know what information you can trust regardless of the
It was
source.
probably COVID.
Oh, it's all COVID.
Oh, Tom's out to pee.
Uh-oh.
Well, yeah, he has the bladder of a small child. Oh, man. So, you were talking, your wife said that you like space stuff? Or you said earlier?
Yeah,
and maps.
Maps, yeah. Because you were talking about some satellite stuff and whatnot.
I said, don't get him started about maps.
So, what specifically about maps just turns you on?
Oh, I just love everything about maps, man. The information you can get, you can tell about just about anything from a map. You really can. I'm serious.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So what really excites you about maps?
Just literally the information, man.
What
information? I just like
information?
learning.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it could be anything. I mean, it could be about.
This is the house of learning doctors, Nick.
Yeah, dude. If
Do
you're not,
do you believe the Earth is flat?
Oh fuck no.
You don't believe it's flat?
No, it's not flat.
This is so fun. So only because
He's so matter of fact, isn't he?
Yeah.
well, no, well, yes, but so this. I don't know what whirlwind, or if I'm just living in a different reality now. I feel like these flat earthers are just like coming up.
Oh yeah.
And really making a stampede forward.
It's about the eclipse.
Oh my God. Are the
yeah.
Christians okay?
No.
No, they're not.
No, they're
Because
not.
they're losing their minds about this eclipse.
Yeah.
The things I have been reading
Yeah.
have
It's
just
ridiculous.
been. Hold on.
Like, it's even like shit on the news. They're like, hey, make sure you go grab groceries. And you're like, it's an eclipse, man.
I did.
Well, that's
I
what-
did order
Yeah.
8 extra jugs of 3 gallons
Marie.
of water. Yeah, I did. I called my water guy, and I was like, because we get water delivered to
You
the
told me
house.
it's because you were tired of filling up the dog's water bowl so often.
That
Was this
lie
the
to
real motive?
cover
Yeah.
my
You lied to
motive
me?
'cause
Or
I
we're
was
lying to each other
embarrassed.
now?
Look at how long this is.
Is that the one about the National Guard and broken bow?
No, this is about the fucking eclipse.
Eclipse.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. What are they doing down there?
So I was talking to somebody the other day. Apparently, they're using this whole situation across the country. They're doing it. I know in like Rochester, New York, and Broken Bow, and like several other places.
It's a warm spot that like where you can see it really well.
Right, but
Yeah.
but supposedly they're again. This is what I've
The
heard.
National Guard is in Broken Bow already.
Right,
now.
but they're using this as a training situation for like what were to happen in
Oh,
if you lose
they're trying to simulate.
if you lose communications, if you lose
Yeah.
whatever. It's odd that I think that they're deciding to do it
during the eclipse.
well, but literally in cities that are in the direct path of the eclipse.
All right.
Because every time there's an eclipse, people are like, "Oh, this won't happen again for another 150 years," and it's
Yeah.
like, "No, it's happening next year."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I think Bud and Shayna who
Like,
told
it's-
me that
they-
the
they-
reason
they-
they're going there is because you were supposed to be able to see the full eclipse there, and
Right,
there's supposed to
but-
be an influx of population in that area, and that's why the National Guard was going out there
but again, it's
for potential population control.
this isn't like the once in a millennium things. Like in my lifetime, there have been several eclipses.
Yeah.
So like, why is this one where they're advertising? Well, we might lose all communications and whatever. Like,
Because of just how rare it is, the type that it is allegedly. I don't know.
But we had one in
That's not deep
2000,
enough.
2017.
Yeah.
because I was in
Yeah.
Florida.
yeah, we
when
had one.
I saw the last one.
2017.
Listen,
I mean-
but again, it's just one of those of like, when they say like, oh, well, it's actually harder to go to the moon now than it was in the 1960s. Like, well,
Oh yeah,
doesn't-
COVID.
well, fucking COVID. But it's just one of those.
It's harder because it costs 4 times more, you know?
But not necessarily. But
Yeah.
especially when their budget doesn't change. If they want to spend the money, they're gonna spend the money anyway.
No, did you hear that Northrop Grumman got a huge ass contract from the government the other day to build a rail on the moon, like a train on the moon?
What?
Yeah.
Well, so I heard I heard that they are going to start doing stuff like that to make that like a port for interstellar space travel, so they don't have to launch from Earth, so they can have a place there where they can go there, build things, and launch from the moon.
Yeah, they wanted to turn it into a gas station because basically, no, seriously,
Is
because
it going to be a 7-Eleven?
yeah, I'm telling you,
And an
Abu's
Indian
gonna be
man
there.
will own it.
Welcome to the
Abu.
moon. Welcome to the moon.
Welcome to the Quickie Mart.
Stop.
No, but seriously, because if they find water on the moon, they can harvest that. They can make hydrogen. Hydrogen is the fuel that they use for their rockets.
This is the
anyway,
whole
so-
plot of For All Mankind.
Yeah, for real though.
For what?
For All
There's a
Mankind.
there's a
It's
show on
on
Apple called For All Mankind.
I mean, the
Yeah.
real question would be who would get the gas station? Would it be Come and Go? Would it be
It's definitely
Circle
7-Eleven.
K?
Obviously 7-Eleven or Quick Trip.
No, it's not gonna be a quick trip.
Is it a Buc-ee's? It should be a Buc-ee's.
It should be a Buc-ee's.
It should be
It
a
should be
fucking-
Moon
Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's.
Yes. I
I'm
would
gonna
love
go
a Moon
home and
Buc-ee's.
make you a graphic design of a space Buc-ee's.
for Space Buc-ee's.
Yes.
Moon Buc-ee's.
Do you think
Yes.
we landed on the moon when we said that we did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, really? So I believe that we've been on the moon, but I've seen a lot of evidence. I guess not evidence. I mean, we all read the same shit, that they possibly just lied about that moon landing at the time.
And maybe, but I don't think they did.
I think that'd be
Well-
really hard to fake in
Well-
69.
Well, that's one of those things that, like,
Well,
watch the
But if you look
wa-
if you watch the footage, it looked like it was just fucking terrible.
Well, I mean, it's
It's also
1969.
1969.
Yeah.
No, actually,
But so it's
no,
very easy to fake in
No,
1960.
the worst part is that you look at like moon footage today of like, oh, we have a rover on the moon. It's less detailed than the video footage was in 1969. It's like, oh, it's kind of grainy, and yeah, you can kind of see something. This is on like a state of the art 8K rover. Like,
Oh, I don't know, man. Because like,
but then again, like the first steps on the moon.
Yeah.
Well, the camera's over there. Who went to set up the camera to watch the first steps on the moon?
come on.
I guess they're not the.
Well, they
whoever's
were
gonna-
paving
It's
the
whoever
way.
owns that 7-Eleven up there.
They were paving the way for travel vloggers.
That's the ATM
The first
camera.
influencers.
The ATM camera on the 7-Eleven.
Who's that landing? Get out of my parking lot.
Golly. I really don't even know what to think. 'Cause I've seen the footage and stuff, and I mean, it looks like it could have been easily faked. I can't cast a permanent opinion because I really don't fucking know. No one really knows.
Yeah.
If anybody knew, nobody would be arguing about it.
So I'm Nick. I'm a little bit with you of.
There's a strong argument.
No. I guess I'm with the table. I think we have been to the moon. I think the footage that we all know of being on the moon is not the actual depiction of what happened.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
Like maybe it's more a dramatization.
Well,
Well, it was for it to move forward in the space race during the Cold War.
Well, yeah. I mean, hearts and minds just by itself.
Right, we've been to the moon, but what actually happened, is,
I gotcha.
a dramatization that's recreated elsewhere to show like this is what it was like.
Yeah.
So
Have you seen like the footage where it shows like astronauts in space and you can see that they're clearly hanging from like wires and like spinning around, like reaching and grabbing each other? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
So there's
Shit the fucking bed.
There's,
See, this is
there's
go ahead.
videos from like the International Space Station where they're like,
Yeah.
oh look, he just floated down, and then the guy tries to stabilize himself, and
you can see like reach over and grab a wire
He
and
grabs a
pull him in.
wire behind the guy that.
Oh.
is-
No, I've never
like-
seen that.
I've never seen that.
It's one of
Oh
the-
my
like,
gosh. We gotta
there
pull
you
these
go.
fucking
Like,
videos up.
like he's trying to like balance himself, and you can't see the wire, but you can see he grabs onto something, and you can see the guy's like hip shake.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's one of those like,
Yeah.
oh,
And
they-
like this fucking girl's hair is just like pointed straight up. They're trying to emphasize that there's no gravity. And it looks like they're all just hanging upside down doing an interview and like suspended by these things. And this is like
I'd have to see that.
recently-
Yeah.
and there's like
I
videos
think
where, like,
I think I know what picture you're talking about.
Oh, this isn't a picture. These are videos. There's multiple of them. And it shows they're trying. It looks like they're trying to pretend to be in space.
Yeah, it's the group photo from the ISS with that.
But there's one of those like one of the guys is in the background, and he like goes to like tucked down one of like the tubes to go to another chamber, and he
disappears.
He fades out before he enters the tube.
Yeah, it shows like it literally shows him like fading out, like he went to like a false background. And it just like disappears before he would have, and they're saying like it's footage from space. Like, well, what the fuck happened to him?
It's a dimension door.
Where the fuck did his leg go?
Yeah.
It's just gone.
He's just like he's like Marty McFly, where he just can't see his hand.
Exactly.
John Cena just floating through like, you can't see me.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you big in conspiracy theories?
Yeah, you know, I'm really.
You dabble?
No, it's been an interesting journey for me.
You're like a little schmattering?
Yeah, you know, I would say I entertain them more than I do. I don't really believe one wholly, but I think there's strong arguments for a lot of them.
I think there's a good argument and you know, a big part of my life is comedy. There's a comedian, his name's Ron Funches, and he talks about he's like you know to people that don't believe in any conspiracy theories, like I understand like you don't believe in all of them or not most of them, but you don't believe in any. Like he's like
not one.
He's like you think the government's just batting 1,000 and telling us the whole truth?
Yeah, no.
he's like I will tell you one thing. He's like, you know, a government is in charge of all its people. He's like, I am a father who has been charged in place of one son. And I lie to that motherfucker all the time.
I mean, that's true, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, like, I believe that the government got rid of JFK.
I mean, who doesn't believe that, though?
And built MK Ultra and all that stuff. I think that there's a lot of truth in that.
Well,
but
yeah, that's been proven, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, the JFK thing, actually, they kind of admitted.
Yeah.
Like
very recently.
Like in the last, 6 or 8 months. So yeah, we did that.
Yeah. I
But
just love how nobody was like, we knew. But everybody's just like,
but that's the thing. Everybody that knew already knew.
Yeah.
And the people that didn't know were just like, well, that doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
Well, it does.
Like, who cares?
It fucking does because
you should care.
It's a pattern of behavior and whatever.
That is by far the spookiest place though I've ever been.
Well,
in Dealey Plaza.
Oh,
that place is spooky. Just you can feel the negative energy in that place. If you've ever been there, have you ever been there?
No idea what you're talking about.
It's where JFK was shot in Dealey Plaza in Dallas.
In Dallas.
Yeah,
that little triangle
yeah,
square.
they have it. They have the X. They have an X in the road where he from where he got shot at.
Yeah,
and then
from where or where he got
shot?
Where he was at when he got hit.
Where he was at when he got shot. Excuse me.
Because if you're gonna say from where, that's diving into a whole other
right.
Well,
it depends on if you believe that there's another person on the grass.
They literally have an X from where he was shot. Like,
yeah.
Well, I guess
no, I meant where JFK was at.
Questions.
While driving down the road, there's an X in the road at the point when he was shot, and then you can look just behind your shoulder and see the depository museum and all that stuff. We went and walked through it, and it was.
And I've seen so many breakdowns of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, according to that, the book depository was behind him, but his skull exploded out this way. Right. Once he was hit, it would have came in from the front.
If you go,
you knocked down that.
I could feel my hand on it. I was trying to.
If you go down there will be people peddling these bootleg videos.
Oh yeah.
Of. Stuff that happened that day.
No, there was a video I saw the other day where
it looks like the guy in the front seat.
The driver. He just turned around. He's like, "What's up, Jack?"
Boom! He literally turns around and you can't really see what's in his hand.
Yeah,
but
I'm pretty sure I sent it to you on TikTok. I know.
He literally turns around and then all of a sudden JFK's head explodes out the back.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just felt so bad for Jackie. Just let me get what's left of your head.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't matter at that point.
Oh, I'm aware, but just that response, that her response.
Hey, we all want a souvenir from.
Hey, I mean that's fair.
I about shit my beer out my face. So, do you believe in any conspiracies then? If you do,
who doesn't?
So, what's your wildest conspiracy that you say dude, I'm just fucking behind that?
Ooh, honestly, it's probably gonna have to be. Y'all are gonna probably think I'm fucking crazy.
Hell yeah.
No, it definitely. like the Egyptians and stuff like that. I definitely think they.
Oh,
they
yeah.
were,
I
yeah,
love
they were
that.
influenced by a higher race of
Tell 'em
beings.
about the book, babe.
So
Tell 'em
hold
about the
on.
book.
I'm about to go off.
Oh, let's do it.
Hold on. So, you go into your serious thing.
No,
let me get my comedy out of the way. There's another comedian that talks about like he's like I don't believe the Egyptians. I'm not a stupid person like that. It's like I'm supposed to believe that 4,000 years ago you created the best thing that's ever been created by mankind, and then for the last 4,000 years you've done jack shit.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm not a stupid person like that. Like, yeah, you built the pyramids, and then for the last 4,000 years the best thing you can come up with is cotton sheets. Nope.
Egyptian cotton.
Anytime somebody says Egyptian cotton, this is a niche reference. Uptown Girls.
Oh,
Na 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 na. Sheets of Egyptian cotton. That's exactly where I went just now.
So that same comedian in his skit, I think it's Andrew Schultz.
Oh, I love Andrew Schultz.
But he's like they say the Jews built the pyramids in Egypt. He's like,
Wait, the Jews built the pyramids?
yeah.
yeah,
Did
were
they
the
say the Jews
slaves.
built the pyramids?
Yeah.
They were the
they were the
slaves.
slaves.
They were the slave. They were.
I didn't know they were Jews.
That's the whole Moses.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the whole Moses. Let my people go. Wander the desert for 40
I'm sorry.
years.
Do you mean
Pharaoh.
Hebrew?
Yeah.
Hebrews?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the Jews.
Hebrews are Jews.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm a fucking moron.
Hebrew.
Hebrew is the language they speak.
Yeah.
Well, it's just funnier when you say Jew.
Hebrews and Shebrews and all the brews.
Oh man, I made myself look like a moron.
But he's like,
It's
they
an
say
educational
the
show.
Jews built
It is.
the pyramids in Egypt. And he's like, well, I think they got the contract.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually did. Like, I don't know if they put all the bricks on it. It's like, you know who they say built the pyramids? Aliens. He's like, yes, illegal aliens built the pyramids.
That tracks.
But because he goes, there's pyramids in Mexico and South America, whatever. Beautiful pyramids. Nobody debates over who built them. The Mexicans built them.
So, who do you think built the pyramids?
Oh, it's definitely. I would definitely have to say it's a race of like other beings. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it'd have to be.
Well, I think
Yeah.
it's ignorant of humans to think that we're the only intelligent life in the galaxy.
Most intelligent on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's ignorant to assume we're intelligent.
No,
Well, I mean, I would
yeah.
say 90% of our population is ignorant in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Honestly,
Well, babe.
you know what I think the biggest downfall of society is? The advancement of modern medicine.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. We took natural selection out of it.
Hey, your chronically ill wife over here.
We all
Well,
have to make sacrifices.
coming from a chronically ill dude, I have diabetes. I'm completely against modern medicine.
Yeah.
100%.
I think it's not like on a case by case.
Oh,
basis.
I know. I'm just being silly.
No, but I agree. It's like, well, we're the only species that saves everybody.
Yeah.
It's like any other animal in the entire world. Like, well,
like they're lost. Let me
like-
eat you for a quick snack.
well, not even that directly, but it was like, well, they weren't going to help us survive long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, like weak
They're a
genetics,
detriment.
Right.
Are supposed to get them, they're supposed to dissipate. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
if you're only the strongest genetics are supposed to survive.
Right. Yeah.
So
The baby elephant that keeps wandering off and getting stuck in quicksand.
Yeah.
Well, eventually the the herd's not going to be able to pull them out. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, we saved you. Like, okay, now you learned. Well, you just walk back in. All right. Well, now I don't know what the hell to do because you just keep doing it, and we're trying to go. So
Yeah.
I
See,
still love them, though. I mean, we
Yeah.
still have Down syndrome kids,
Well, yeah.
We would take care of them.
and again,
There are sacrifices that must be made. and
that's not going to be a popular opinion to make.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that those kids don't deserve to live, but when you start trying to save everybody, as a general term, you're slowing down progress.
natural progression.
Right.
Okay, so I thought we were talking about medicine for a second. Now we're talking.
well, I mean,
no, that's where we are.
yeah.
okay.
The people that require constant,
Like Nick.
every ailment, everything is like.
I think
I'm on
like
30
this
I'm
medicine
on-
that we have, it's getting created to create these elements within us, so we just become victims to
Right.
this
Well,
system.
yeah.
that-
Right.
I mean,
they own our health.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it goes back to a lot of the processed shit that we eat. I mean,
all
that's
about
creating more
processed.
issues than anything else.
Your body
100%.
can't digest it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's
And
not supposed to be genetically modified. That's why everyone has autoimmune disease.
Dude, yeah,
Your
I'm
body
real.
can't even digest
I've become
it.
very big into just locally sourcing as much as I can. And
Shout out to the Tahlequah Farmers Market tomorrow.
Yep. And the 1839 meat market, man. Like, well,
yeah.
But,
you know,
but what I was gonna say is like, if every day you wake up and you have to be on 37 medications
Yeah.
to stay,
Alive.
just alive or function as whatever, at some point in that process of your life, whatever, you probably weren't supposed to make it.
100%.
And we're one of the only species that has the capacity to develop stuff to keep people
alive.
that
Keep
keep
you
stuff
alive.
alive
I see what you're saying
that would
now.
have that would have been picked out or died off a long
And
time
I would
ago.
argue, what quality of life is that anyway?
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Like,
I do too.
I just think of all of these people who suffer every single day, and I'm just like, how are you living? How is that a life?
Right.
Because just
Now,
some
do
of
you-
the
You're,
issues that
you're not
like,
living, you're existing.
right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
well, do you think the majority of these diseases or whatever are actually completely uncontrollable? Like,
Well, like-
if somebody that's actually living on, all these medications and stuff, like there's not like, excluding like some uncontrolled cancers or whatever caused that. Like I really can't control my diabetes. I just have it. But these people that are just like arthritis, high blood pressure.
Your diabetes is a choice you make, and I don't accept
Yeah.
it.
Oh, great! Now we're gay bashing.
Now
I was born this way. It's not a choice.
Now we're beaties bashing.
like
No.
like some of my
You're gonna diabeat me?
like some of my gastrointestinal distress can be treated by a better diet.
Yeah. So
so
that's what
that's-
I'm saying.
So that was
Like
But
that
I
was
feel-
some of that stuff would
well that was
would
that was a
equal
choice.
its-
That was
would-
the thing that we did, and now I'm doing a lot
Yeah.
better.
But I mean, I'm just like I'm saying, even without advanced modern medicine, if we had just cut out a lot of the shit that they put in here that's genetically modified
100%.
or processed or anything like that, then I mean, a lot of these issues would just.
I
solve
wonder what
themselves.
diseases we would not have if we didn't have processed
Well,
foods.
so,
Electric cars.
yeah.
Well,
If we didn't have
If
this
we didn't
idea
have
that
processed food,
if we didn't have this idea that like, oh, we can make non-meat meat to save
Yeah.
That Bill Gates meat.
to save the earth. Like,
Well-
no, like if you're telling me that cows' existence is the problem with global warming,
Yeah.
like
sorry,
Yeah,
Earth
there's-
created
there-
something that was bad for it.
like Saudi Arabia, there's tire fields that burn 24/7, 365.
That doesn't have anything to do with
Yeah,
it.
that
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the global thing. It's
Yeah.
no, it's the
cow that's farting too
It's the
much.
cows in Ireland that are creating too much
Yeah.
methane.
well,
Yeah.
and you're
That's-
talking about like food in our diet. When I was doing research in college on subsistence whaling groups in various places around the world, this Swedish group did research on an Inuit population in Alaska, and they were like some of the healthiest people they had ever encountered.
Inbred but healthy.
Yeah, but if you look past some of that, like they were incredibly healthy. They didn't have none of their people had heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, things like that.
Yeah.
And it was because they ate, off the land.
They were inbred?
ate.
No,
Not all of them are inbred.
Did they have all 5 of their fingers?
Yes.
They were
But-
the healthiest people.
But they were the healthiest people these people had encountered, and by doing that research, they concluded that if they were to introduce them to processed foods like we eat in the rest of America, they would be exposed to things that they had never been exposed to before. So it just proves the point that what we've done by genetically modifying 90% of everything is that we're just doing it to we're literally doing it to ourselves.
right? Yeah,
It's all in the name of profit.
Yeah.
Well,
People, it's
cut
money over
you-
people.
You cut these corners, you add these fillers, you do whatever in all to save a couple cents,
Yeah.
here and there, and it's
Yeah.
yes, when that adds
It's
up,
even
that's
more to
that's how
subsidize
you get into
the farmers to only do one crop, and they own the land. The government owns the seed companies like Monticello and stuff like that. That they subsidize them to not even like have farms.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
if they plant anything on their farm, certain acreage, they get fined.
Tyson.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. The UK farmers are complaining about the same thing, and then all the French farmers that are protesting. Which, by the way,
Dude,
shout out to
it's
the French
fucking
farmers.
awesome.
You guys know how to throw a fucking protest, and I'm over here taking
what happened
notes.
with that?
They are like, I'm talking like hundreds of these big
Like
harvesters
thousands
and
of-
manure spreaders and stuff.
Yeah.
like blocking city streets and dumping manure in the middle
Oh,
of
yeah.
like
Like-
in
Oh,
the
yeah.
middle of major
Yeah.
cities.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
taking
man.
these manure
They put some
spreaders.
in the Parliament building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're
Like-
just
like-
driving by with a manure spreader and they're just coating the side of Parliament and shit like that. Like they don't care.
That's the
They'll come up
coolest thing ever.
all this shit that they're supposed to recycle that the government tells them that they have to recycle and they charge them for all this shit. Like they're coming,
It's
just
all like
dumping it.
it's all like organic compounds,
Yeah.
like
It's like hay and straw
hay
and-
and cow shit.
Yeah.
and they're like, well, you need to pay us to process this so it gets recycled properly. Like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
This goes back into the fucking earth.
Yeah, like I use this, man. This is how I fertilize my fields. Shut up,
Right.
The EU also increased some tariffs on certain agricultural goods, which is also part
Yeah.
of the protest, is that they're pissed off about more tariffs and more regulations and
Yeah.
more.
Which they're also stupid because France is their biggest agricultural output or producers. So like I don't know why you're pissing off the people who literally feed you. But
And listen,
good
they
luck.
Well, you
they
say the
cut
same thing
they cut a
with
few of their
US
king's
farmers.
heads off.
Yes,
Of,
but
like-
we're dumb.
Well, we are.
Yeah, they're doing the right way. We're dumb. We're just like, oh, okay. We'll
I
just
love a
keep paying the
protest.
billionaires, you know.
I love a protest.
Oh.
Just gets me hot.
But I mean, like even the German farmers got in on it.
does.
Farmers from like Belgium, and like I mean, there were a lot of people, and they were stopping traffic and like all these trucks that were importing all this stuff that they're not getting taxed as heavily on. Like they're just dumping it in the middle of the road.
And like spilling
Yeah.
Bordeaux wine
pretty-
everywhere.
like
and
millions of dollars worth
Yeah.
of products. Like they're
wine,
just
lots of
yeah.
wine and like it's awesome. I
So,
fucking love
what protests have you been a part of?
many.
Give me your top 3.
I went to a SeaWorld protest one time.
Save the whales?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been to several Trump protest rallies. I've been to
I'm guessing on the other side of that red tape.
yeah.
Okay.
I've been to lots of environmental stuff.
Did you
Okay.
not see Free Willy when you were a kid?
I did see
do you
Free
not-
Willy.
Do you not
But then I saw
approve that movie?
Blackfish as an
Oh.
adult,
Yeah.
and it wrecked my life. And so I was like, it's my mission to make everybody know that SeaWorld is trash.
Let's watch The Cove. Isn't that where they like beat dolphins with like bats and stuff? Like, oh yeah, it's a great movie.
Oh, it's terrible.
Cove?
I'm
I think
anti.
it's called The Cove.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'm anti animals for entertainment value. So like zoos are pushing it.
Oh, no more donkey shows.
Tijuana has no regulation on that.
All right.
But yeah, the wildest one I went to was the anti SeaWorld stuff
Why was that more wild than the
because
other ones?
PETA was there.
Ooh.
PETA comes to all of the SeaWorld stuff.
So
And PETA gets rowdy.
what?
Yeah.
Why are people so against SeaWorld?
Well, if you've never seen the documentary Blackfish, I'd start there.
I
but
think I watched.
it's about SeaWorld and some trainers and some certain events that happened and how SeaWorld, the company, pushed it under the rug, unsafe working conditions. I mean, should I
Animal
mention
cruelty.
animal cruelty? I mean, we're putting a, massive sea mammal into a pool in comparison to what their environment normally is, which is the ocean.
Oftentimes they're by themselves. Too.
Yeah.
Well, and so I understand how things like SeaWorld and zoos and stuff came to be, and at least the way I look at them, they weren't necessarily intention to be
Entertainment
for entertainment.
spaces.
It was
Yes.
for
It was
like
conservation.
conservation and
Right.
then
So
rehab.
initially that-
rehab with the goal of re-releasing them into.
And that was
regrowing
the initial
populations.
goal, but then there was a place called Sealand of the Pacific.
And then you find out it can make you money.
Right,
And
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
So
instead of going from an NPO, now you're selling tickets to watch the
exactly.
couple dolphins
Yeah.
jump through hoops.
By the way,
and
it's $200 a ticket.
Sealand of the Pacific captured this orca who was larger than any orca they had ever seen before, and his name was Tilikum. And the I know it's a I get it. But
We're gonna have a lot of fun tonight till the. They could have came up with nothing better. Dude.
I know. But anyway,
there's a beach in like Washington called Tillicum Beach.
it's worse.
How long do I have to be here until I come beach?
It's like Washington, Oregon, or something like that.
But
it's
see,
TILLI.
You know, I think you sent me a picture of that. Yeah.
Like how long do I have to do this?
Till I come beach.
SeaWorld bought Tillicum from SeaWorld of the Pacific, and 75% of SeaWorld's whales are descendants of this one. And so he was like incredibly aggressive, stuff like that. He's killed several people. Anyway, it's just a horrible deal. And
He's
so
killed like 3 or 4 trainers.
yeah.
The whale did?
Yeah. And so, but
Well,
they're not meant. They're not meant to live that kind of life. And so,
You ever seen those motherfuckers hunt?
Oh yeah,
Fucking
they are
cool, dude.
apex predators, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
I watched the video.
And also, they're actually dolphins and not whales. Fun fact.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah, they're actually so Orcinus orcas, killer whales, are actually dolphins. They're the largest dolphin.
That's why they're so smart.
Yep. They actually have a larger prefrontal cortex than other sea mammals, so they can experience as many emotions as humans, even potentially more emotions than we as humans can experience.
Yeah.
Echolocation.
Oh, what country was it that said that they were a sentient species?
SeaWorld. Or not
No.
SeaWorld. Sweden.
Was it Sweden?
Yeah.
I thought they-
Sweden, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It was Sweden, yeah.
Sweden?
And I mean, the Aborigines also treat whales as like
Yeah.
they're sentient.
Oh, that and the Inuits.
And almost
Yeah.
any coastal indigenous group will view them as sentient because they are.
I mean, I view most of nature as far above us.
I would agree.
It definitely is.
Absolutely.
Well, it was here way before us.
Well,
yeah.
it was here way
Nature
before.
corrects itself.
It was here way before us, but you always hear like, oh, this tragedy if somebody was attacked by a shark or an alligator. It's like, no, this is the fucking food chain.
Yeah, dude.
like somebody's attacked by a shark. Oh, it's a tragedy. Like, no, you entered their world.
Yeah,
Nature
dude.
corrects itself.
That is their domain. They're the only real motherfucker in that entire equation.
Yeah.
He's just a shark being a shark.
Yeah.
Or he's just a whale being a
absolutely.
whale, or a out here like a mountain lion or bobcat
that's
being
why
a mountain lion or bobcat.
That's why you see so many interactions of people with like orcas, for instance. They're very friendly.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They're incredibly docile in the right situations, but in the SeaWorld situation, they're stressed.
Well, if I remember
Right.
correctly, there's no actual documented attacks on people in the
Outside
wild.
of, yes.
Yeah, in
there
the wild.
are no actual wild attacks on humans from an orca.
Yeah,
I
from
did see a video of an orca fuck up a great white the other night.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that dude got
Yeah.
fucked
He
up.
just broadsided him like he ran a fucking red light.
They're crazy.
Fucking T-boned him and just fucking annihilated him.
He
incredibly
said, choo-choo,
protective.
motherfucker,
Right.
I'm coming through.
Well, but I was amazed at the size of them.
Yeah.
Like the size of the orca dwarfed the great white.
Yeah.
And it's like a Honda Civic got stuck on train tracks and the train came through and just wrecked it.
Who was filming that?
It was I think it was a drone filming.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it
so.
was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because they were
outside of the water?
they were over a pod of great white
Orcas.
Orcas, yeah.
and there was a great white swimming through it and just came and
So
What?
they
Was he like? Do they eat sharks?
Yeah.
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 Do they really?
They're I mean they're
They're-
omnivorous.
Yeah.
It would have been better if he was just like, "Fuck this shark."
Well,
gonna go eat some seaweed.
so I think
You
Get
don't
out of
hit
here,
him.
Billy.
You
We
hit
don't
him.
like you on the west side of town.
I think a lot of people think that sharks have a lot to do with like ocean currents and stuff like that, and it's actually whales. Whales have way more to do with migratory paths and stuff like that than sharks do.
What do you mean they have more to do with ocean currents?
With ocean currents. So like, you know how in Australia they've had an issue with algae buildup over coral reefs and stuff like that, and it's
Yeah.
because
100%.
Okay, so if you don't know, that's okay. So in recent years,
I
Australia's
was just reading this.
Australia's seen
We are a house of readers.
Australia's seen a dip in tourism for the coral reef.
I saw Finding Nemo.
They've seen a dip in tourism, and it's because these whales in general have been changing their migratory patterns because of the changes in ocean currents due to shipping, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And whales have gestation periods similar to humans, and so since the 70s whaling boom, whale populations haven't been able to catch back up, is where I'm headed. But they have a huge impact on overgrowth of algae in coral reef zones.
Which kills coral reefs and
Right,
stuff like
exactly.
that. It absorbs all the oxygen out
Yeah,
of coral
yeah.
reefs.
So because whales are changing their migratory patterns due to whaling ships and stuff like that.
Thank you, Japan.
Yeah, thanks Japan, Norway, Iceland. It's affecting places that use the ocean for tourism. Australia, New Zealand, places like that.
Okay.
Not to mention all their conservation laws. Like
Australia
somebody's going to be paying to fix that. when the
Australia
whales
has some
don't.
of the harshest ocean conservation laws.
Well, they're for a long time, and I don't know if they're still doing it, but I know the Australian government was going after the Japanese government for whaling.
They still are.
Yeah.
In
for whaling.
international court.
I feel like any island government, just the island population is much more in tune with.
Well, yeah.
Because you can't be on an island and not one, respect it, but two, like a big part of your food and economy is the ocean.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't just we'll just truck stuff in from the other side of the state.
40.
It's like, no, like you have to live off the.
Well, like 40% of Australia is unlivable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
40%?
Yeah.
most of the northern part of Australia is uninhabitable.
Huh.
Yeah. Although
it'd be
fun
like,
little
be like having like
Thanks,
the ever,
Obama.
But
fun little fact, there's actually a U.S. military installation in there.
Oh.
but
What do you think they're hiding there?
But it's like South. It's like most of South Florida is unlivable because it's the Everglades. Like you can't build there. You can't build there. You can't really do much there. It's just it's swampland.
I think Australia views their Aborigines population in a better light than the United States government views their indigenous population.
I think they respect them.
I think you're correct.
Right.
Especially after the
That's
90s.
but that's what I mean. Like,
They tried to get rid of
Well,
them.
ironically,
we don't talk about that.
Ironically, when Australia was built as a commune for criminals, that they have more respect for the Aborigines.
Yeah, I know,
than-
right?
yeah. Well, and even New Zealand, they're pretty harsh about some of their marine mammal laws too, and it's because of the Maori.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a
But-
huge part of it.
Yeah, but they're in specifically Australia and New Zealand. I know that their indigenous populations have a lot more legal rights,
They do,
especially when it comes to conservation and I think it's humane treatment.
Yep.
Here we just do stuff to make us look good, but not without actually doing.
Actually,
anything.
so fun little fact: there was a vote at the UN today to ban the sale of weapons to Israel for fear of use of being used in a genocide.
Oh.
Yeah. Guess who voted no?
Us.
Us in Germany as well. Yeah, I know, right? Das Germans, I am looking at you.
How desem.
Oh,
Where's Angela Merkel
Das
when you
ist,
need her?
das ist Kuscheiße.
I know. But yeah. So
Interesting.
Angela
I-
Merkel,
very
Angela
congressman
Merkel's
idea.
not their
I-
PM anymore.
I know.
I
Said
hadn't
we
heard
miss
about
her.
that.
Oh, I do miss her.
I hadn't heard about that one yet. But.
So, do you think the government is? I feel like earlier
Whatever you're about to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no.
Do you think there's a way?
If you just say, "Do you think the government?"
do you think
Yeah.
Yes.
do you think there's any potential that the government is involved? Yes.
well, no. So,
Yep,
the
100%.
government and aliens. Okay, I feel like in 2023 that was like a big thing where people were like testifying in Congress that they're hiding
We need to call Tom
stuff,
DeLonge.
No.
Well,
I just feel like, why do they have to come out like now and be
Well,
like
no,
all of a sudden, oh, it's a big crisis, like everybody that they put in mental institutions.
no. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, circling back to something I said at the beginning of this, it's, hey, stuff's
Look over here.
starting to come out.
Yeah.
Like, oh well, don't look at us. Aliens.
Aliens.
No. All right, we finally admit they're real. Well,
Have you seen Don't
Stop.
Look Up?
Yes. But it's one of those like
That was a good movie.
As soon as they coming out, after years of denying that like that's not a thing, it's a conspiracy, and now they're like, well, no, it is a thing. Well, no, but that's not what you need to look at. You need to look at what they're trying to point you towards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or what they're trying to point you away from.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're like, well,
what do you think they were
like,
pointing us away from then?
well, but like, the last 70 years, like, no, there's no aliens. We would know, and now, like,
Trafficking.
well, like, yes, especially stuff like that, like, oh, well, all these accusations start coming up. Well, no, aliens are real. Look over here. That like, no, I'm gonna keep looking.
Yeah.
At the people that are telling you that you need to look over there.
I feel like they're doing that to distract us from like the economy and stuff like that.
Yes.
No.
No.
Well, that, and I mean, if I remember correctly, you had the Hunter Biden laptop thing going on.
I thought that was several years ago.
No,
not
that-
that
No,
one.
that was
no,
at
you had
the
the Trump investigation going on.
So the
And
Hunter
then what else was there?
Biden laptop and his indictments of it are at the same time they were doing the Seagate. The people that went down to look at
the
Titanic.
Yeah.
Also, idiots.
Well, okay.
Fucking idiots, all
also,
of them.
just hashtag Mother Nature. She won on that one.
Well, so one, idiots, absolutely. But when it comes out that they knew on 6 hours after they lost communication that the sub had imploded, and they held on to it for 4 more days.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. That's horrible.
Well, no. So they knew on.
Drug it out.
No, they knew on Sunday that the sub had, or Saturday or Sunday, that the sub had imploded, and our own government
sure.
kept doing this like, oh, well, they're running out of air, whatever, until Wednesday, the day that Hunter Biden was being indicted, they announced the sub had imploded.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that either.
They held on to it until the day he was going to court, and then the first headline that morning was, we've lost the sub, it finally imploded. Look at the tragedy. Also, we're getting back into conspiracy theories and stuff.
Oh, I
like
love
that.
it. Let's
I
do
love
it.
But you look at the whole premise behind the Titanic sinking in the first place. That would there's too many people financially involved in.
Yeah, there was a lot of big names, a lot of money on that.
A lot of big names, and a lot of the people, not a lot of the people that died. Some of the big names that died on the sinking of the Titanic were
Changed the world.
were
Yeah.
Changed the world.
were the last time people were opposed to the central banking system in the U.S.
Yeah.
What? I've never heard that before.
No, so the people that were opposing building a central banking system in the U.S. were on the maiden voyage of the Titanic.
See, I always thought the conspiracy was that it was intentionally crashed for a massive insurance claim.
Well, that is also.
I need to brush up on my Titanic controversy, apparently,
Well,
because
so
I
you
didn't know
never got
any
the
of these
tinfoil
things.
hats. Go get the tinfoil hats.
Yeah.
No, the insurance claim is a big part of it. There's a claim that it wasn't actually the Titanic; it was the older sister ship, the Olympia, which they were getting ready to decommission.
Mm-hmm.
They repainted the name on the back to Titanic and sent it out and sank it.
No shit.
But they advertised it as being this brand new boat.
Oh, so they never actually built the Titanic.
I don't know if they did or they didn't.
I was about to
Well,
say,
no
'cause
one knows.
that's a big ass ship to hide. I mean, granted, it was like 19 whatever was it?
1900?
1985.
3?
1903 or 1906 or
Something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like whatever. I mean,
But
I want to
it
say
was-
1907, but that was when Oklahoma became a state.
yes.
1907.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
that's
November
one of the
17th,
things.
1907.
So
Some of the biggest.
Oklahoma became a state after Mormonism.
Yes.
Cool. Anyways,
My dad.
There's a Snapple fact of the day.
Okay. So on April 15th, 1912 is when the Titanic
Okay,
sank.
1912.
Oh yeah, because remember in Downton Abbey, World War I breaks out right after.
That's right. Good show.
Best show.
But circling back to the Titanic and Ocean Gate and whatever, again, we're going back to conspiracy theories, but you get into the point where
Like, is anything
Well, no. But so one of the theories behind OceanGate of these people dying and then they held on to that information. Yeah. Well, now there's a law in place that you can't go see the Titanic wreckage without government approval.
And I mean, why would that?
And well, they did it after OceanGate. Like, see, it's too dangerous. You can't go down there.
Yeah.
I believe a little bit that it's all bullshit. That they don't want people investigating the wreckage and find out that it didn't hit an iceberg when it sank.
Huh.
Oh, I never. Oh,
yeah,
wow!
that's
You just
interesting. I
opened a
never-
can of worms in my brain.
That would be the
could prove it.
that would be the first time that you think ice can penetrate 2-inch thick steel.
I mean,
Like the density, the hardness of how physics work could never penetrate.
but
a
objects in
2-inch
motion stay in motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, until
So
they
ship-
impact something of equal
Right.
and opposite force.
Right, but there's a reason why like cutting blades for wood, steel, whatever they're made of a material that's harder than the material you're cutting. That's the
Yeah,
only
it
way
has to
you
be.
that's the only way
Okay.
you that's the only way you cut it.
I know science.
I could take a
Yeah, could you
I could-
possibly take enough ice with
I-
enough force to penetrate 2-inch steel?
I mean, I don't know. Could you?
I mean, if
Under
you
the right conditions,
well, I mean,
maybe.
you drag it, and if it's got enough mass that the ship can't really move it out of the way, that it's going to drag along it.
but that it would
Maybe.
I
puncture
mean, if it's cold enough.
Maybe. I mean, cold steel.
cold steel. All right. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
but again, 2-inch
'Cause they were
thick
in the
cold
Arctic.
steel
Uh,
against ice.
maybe. I
Dude,
don't know.
I mean, I guess
I
you-
always
you-
knew 2 inches was enough to do some fucking damage.
No, it's not.
No, you just got wrecked with 2 inches.
Nah.
You did get wet, but you sank.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe.
I guess again, and it depends on your theory of how everything was created. You could say that they say all the lakes and valleys and stuff were created by glacial retraction.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, glacial attraction, erosion.
right, but
Yeah.
ice has the capacity to do that. But did it make that capacity on retraction, or did it make it as it was growing in?
I think a combination of both.
But, and I agree.
Yeah.
But again, like you could run. See, now we're gonna get back into 9/11. We're like,
It all circles back.
well,
Yeah.
but no, you could say
It
Thanks,
was
Obama.
9/11.
Life is the
no,
biggest
but
conspiracy.
I've worked around aircraft and stuff for
Yeah.
several years now. I've seen 2 aircraft hit at half the speed of smell, and it crumples the wing because they barely made contact. You're
Yes.
telling me a plane made of mostly aluminum cut through steel beams and stuff at doesn't matter what the speed is, it would have imploded
Yeah.
upon hitting steel beams. It's aluminum and magnesium and very soft metals.
Yeah. Lead and magnesium's combustible anyways.
Well, that's his own thing.
Dun-dun-dun.
But that like an aluminum wing can slice through like 6 layers of steel I-beams going,
Yeah.
going through. It's
I don't think that
I
can be
mean,
possible.
well, I mean, it's not necessarily slicing it through. I mean, you're talking about crushing damage, though. Because, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you could take a human and throw it at you get it going fast enough, a human body fast enough, and throw it at a steel beam. You could probably bend it. At least put a pretty good side bend in it. So if you take a plane that's going, 200-300 miles an hour.
that
and
I'm
then-
not sure about.
Yeah, but, I mean,
I don't know enough to test you, but I know that.
Let's go find out.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I'm just saying, you take a 5-ton car and you throw it at a building at 200 miles an hour, what's going to happen? I mean, you're going to fucking destroy that building. So what are you going to do with
I'm gonna get a DUI.
However heavy those 747s were. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying, as far
Also,
as
how
the
fast
building,
does ice have to be going to penetrate 2-inch steel?
I think it's more. I think it's more of a question of mass.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it would be. It would be massive.
Well, who's to say the
Yeah.
ice actually penetrated the steel?
Well, that's the story is that it bounced along the hull, puncturing holes.
It could also have been a defect in the steel.
It could have been.
Yeah.
It very well could have been.
Combination of that and the defect in the
But
steel.
the fact that now after this one incident, they've decided that nobody can go down there without government approval.
But also, that's international water.
Yeah.
But
So who's got jurisdiction over that?
well, it's the same way with Antarctica that
Yeah.
you can't go there. And a lot of countries have jurisdiction on it. They've got
Yeah.
bases there or whatever.
And now we're getting back into flat Earth.
That's right.
because they say you can't go over there because the Earth is flat and there's lands outside of this Arctic Circle that circles the flat Earth.
Well, that would mean that you would believe that every picture that's been taken of the Earth from the International Space Station is fake.
And that's exactly what they believe.
Okay, but what about all this GoPro footage from these ships that go from one side of the world to the other?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Hey, I don't know. I'm just saying the Arctic Circle theory that they're keeping us from going to past Antarctica or to it or whatever is because the Earth is flat. They're trying to control what we live in, and outside of that is lands that we don't know about.
So if we're gonna, again, this is something we're opening up a whole new fucking
Let's do it.
Yeah.
thing of worms here. So if the universe is in like 9 different degrees of motion at any given point, we're moving this way, we're spinning, we're doing this way, everything around is like the same constellations and stars and stuff like that were documented thousands of years ago.
We still see the same.
How are they still in the exact same orientation from everything we like? If everything is in movement, expanding, spinning, twirling, whatever, everything is exactly where it was and mapped out thousands and thousands of years ago.
Yeah, how does that happen?
How does that if we're infinitely expanding, we're infinitely growing, we're infinitely moving through space, everything is in the exact orientation it has been for thousands of years.
Well, I think we have to keep in mind that these are all theories.
No,
by the way,
but the widely accepted theory is that we're in this.
Yes.
Currently. So, like, how could anything? So, if we came from a Big Bang and everything exploded from this one point, and then we're all going separately from that, how could anything ever collide with itself again?
It could,
because anything that moves from a single point through space moves indefinitely without being in contact from
a single point.
So if you're going this way, there may be contact originally, but if we're going in a direction, there shouldn't be anything else coming from another.
Well, not necessarily, because where we're at, I mean, we're inside of a galaxy that's inside of another, I can't remember what they call it, constellation, I think. So, like, we're not on the edge of anything. Like, there's a lot around us in every direction.
Yeah, but there wouldn't be anything like coming back around. If we all exploded from one point, we'd all be going in one direction.
Yeah, but I don't think constellations move.
Everything.
They don't.
In theory, everything is moving.
Everything's
they change positions. They change positions in the night sky depending on the time of year.
Yes.
Because of the tilt in the Earth's axis.
Yes.
But they don't necessarily.
They still have the same relation to each other, though.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Which is, if everything's expanding, everything's spinning, moving throughout infinite space. How is it all in the exact same? These two stars have never grown a fucking inch farther apart than they were.
Well, maybe they have, but our perspective shows is so far away that we don't see that.
What it is what we're seeing is the light from that star. So the star is already dead by the time we see that light.
Could be.
Well, I mean, that's the widely accepted theory. Last I checked, was that is the light from a dead star, unless that star is still living.
But at some point, wouldn't that residual, even if that, these two stars were dead 100 million years ago, whatever you want to say it, 1,000 years ago, their residual light would die off as they grew farther. So even if we're seeing residual light, they would still be emitting light as they moved farther apart.
But they're not moving.
No, but with the Big Bang Theory, where everything's exploding outwards.
Right.
Yeah, the universe itself is constantly expanding, but our constellation is not.
But how does that work?
Call Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't know the science on that one, but to my understanding,
that's above my pay grade.
Yeah, but nothing is moving inside of our constellation. But even if it was,
well, that's very convenient.
Well, I know, right?
but all the other ones, but yeah, I mean, not ours, because that's.
But even if it was moving, you're talking about hundreds of millions of trillions of light years distance between us. Like, you're not going to see something that's moving, even if it's moving hundreds of millions of miles. Like, the perspective on that is not going to change.
So how come in the GoPro footage of space you don't see stars?
Because stars are planets.
But so like we can see stars from here. Like
It's
look out
the-
the sky, see
you-
stars.
Stars
you're-
are farther away.
Yeah, well, you're seeing the light from them is what you're seeing.
Well, so I mean, like you're seeing you see the footage from space. There's no stars behind Earth. It's just all black.
Well, so that's light saturation on a camera lens. Like you're out there in in the middle of nowhere.
There's no light.
Yeah, there's no light. So like, how are you gonna try to get that so,
like-
a camera can focus on these small abstracts of light?
So can
way
we go
forever
take
out
a
there.
picture of stars now? Like we go outside right now with the phone. Would stars show up?
No, I don't think
Space
stars
has
would.
the absence of light.
Yeah.
Is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't see the stars, even though we can see them on
With
Earth.
with your eye.
I think because of Earth's atmosphere
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That and
That's why
light
we can
saturation
see-
on a camera lens versus an eyeball. It's
Right.
different.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Diesel Daddies educational program.
This is basically PBS.
Yeah.
This has basically been PBS this
Yeah.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you.
You know what, guys? We've been going a while. We're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
So this is what happens with military education. You learn about aliens.
yeah. A little
But
bit
man,
of everything.
I greatly appreciate you for
Oh,
being here,
thank
and
you.
thank you deeply for your service.
Thank you.
And I know Tom thanks you as well.
Yes.
Hop on here, Tom, and say goodbye.
Right here. Always appreciated, and absolutely, love the troops, love everything. It's
Thank
the respect goes a lot deeper than a lot of us could ever or probably would ever acknowledge or be able to articulate. So
Yeah, I don't think
it's,
we can truly articulate, at least from our perspective, how we feel about your service to us and our country. So thank you very much for that. And if you're trans in there fighting, dude, I mean, keep on going, I guess. So don't bring everybody else down because of what you feel like you need to deserve. So peace out.
Don't forget to eat your Wheaties, kids.
Yeah.